Okay, I think we're live. It is 1:13. Sorry, I'm a little late. Hey, it's Charles is in here. Charlie Manson is in the house. It's Miranda. Miranda's here too. Hi, Miranda. Maria. Sorry, I'm late. Just trying to get a few things done around the house. Plus, I've been watching the hockey games, so sorry I'm a little late. We got Mino Dino's in the house. Hey, buddy. Miranda's in the house. Good to see Miranda. Uh, Charlie Manson's in the house. We got Paula Fitzhenry's here, and Heather Brown is here. Good to see everybody. Heather, how are you? Good to see you. Hope you're well. Um, I got the scanner on because I've been following this guy out there. Southern Gal's here. Hey, Southern Gal, good to see you. Oilers lost, yep, by a lot. It's Southern Gal. Southern Gal's here. Good to see you, Southern Gal. Like I said, I've been following the pursuit of that guy out there in Washington. So I got the scanner on. But let me play an intro, and I'll be back. Good to see everybody. Let me hold on. Let me turn that down a little bit. I've been following that guy. You're back. I see that. Did you go live tonight too? I didn't know if you went live. Not sure. But anyways, I'll be right back. I'll play an intro. I'll be right back, and we'll get going. Truth Seeker's here. Good to see Truth Seeker. What Facebook is yours? I think it's Owl on the Prowl. I'm not sure. I'll have to check on that. Good to see you though. Let me turn the scanner down. Hold on a second here. Hold on a second. Good Lord. Because I don't know if you guys can hear that anyways, but it's quite annoying. Anyways, let me play an intro. I'll be right back. It's good to see everybody. And I'll be right back. Let me Mama Duck is here. Good to see Mama Duck. Can't believe I'm saying that. Nicole Watt is here. Good to see Nicole Watt. All right, I'll be right back. I'll play my intro. Then we'll get going. Good to see everybody though. Waiting for the Pope to come get you. Won't be long now, bro. All right, be right back. Let me hide my face. All right, so okay, so let me see here. Truth Seeker needs a wrench. Thank you. Let me see. Gal. I'll get. Let's see here. I'll get Truth Seeker or wrench. Hold on a second. Duck everybody. I'm throwing wrenches around again. Let me see here. View on YouTube. Hope everybody's doing well. Where's Truth Seeker? Right there. Oh, thank you. Add as moderator. Carol's here too. I see Carol. Hi, Carol. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. Good to see Tracy. Hold on, let me get rid of this now. Let me know if that worked. Where am I? Right here. Okay. Duck. Yeah, duck, goose. All right, Tracy Fleetwood's here. Let's see. Who else came in? Carol came in. Carol's here. I think I gave you a wrench. Let me know if that works. Truth Seeker. I think everybody else has got. Jingles is here. Jingles 78 is here. Good to see you. Like I said, I got the scanner on. Hold on a second. I can. So I've been following this for a while now. Let me try to show this here. So this is we discussed this kind of last week here. This is Wenatchee, Washington. This is where that guy is out somewhere around here. He unalived his 3 girls last week. But I've been following this here, and this is the helicopter here that's been kind of flying around here trying to locate this guy here. This is a Eurocopter Lakota. This is military government, so I'm assuming that this is the This is the helicopter here that's been searching kind of in this general area the last few hours or so, and his the flights here are pretty. Hold on a second. Recent flights. So they've been out here. What's today? Today is the 15th. So yesterday they were out here for a few hours here. And you can see they've been out here for a while. So anyways, I've been following this. I got the scanner on too from that area. So if anything happens, we'll be the first to hear about it. That's too funny. Anyways, I checked northern Wisconsin. Is that where Dino is? Glad somebody came on your board. Well, I hope I can help that. Reminded me about Dave Live tonight. Yes. Thank you, Heather. I hope Heather's doing well. Yes, he's definitely a monster. I mean, he's allegedly. Let me know if Jingle 78 wants a wrench too. All right, so I just wanted to show everybody what I've been doing for the last couple of days. I've been following this. So I guess we could start there. Hold on a second. 3. My internet is not working all that great the last couple of hours here, so hopefully we can. I want to start with that there. So we'll go, hold on a second. We'll start with this one here and then we'll move on to something else. All right, so let me share this here. Like I said, we were following this last week, but this fugitive here, I don't know if he's a fugitive. He's just, they're suspecting him of being involved in these, his daughter's unalivings here.
Developing tonight at tip.
But anyways, if those of you who weren't here last week, search teams, this was done 4 days ago. Search teams are expanding into new areas and doubling back on the ground as they hunt for Travis Decker, the Army veteran charged with unaliving his 3 daughters. He hasn't been charged yet. A crew in the sheriff's helicopter scanned the rugged terrain along the Highway 97 in Chelan County on Tuesday, while teams in off-road vehicles. So they've been out there. We'll play that, and we'll play the press conference. So here's this here.
From a hiking party is helping investigators close in on Travis Decker, the Army veteran charged with killing his 3 daughters. A helicopter crew then spotted a lone hiker who immediately ran for cover. Tracking teams arrived and picked up a possible trail that hiker may have used. Como Joel Marino shows us how the community.
Quick thing. Okay, I'll get you a wrench, Jingles. Thank you. We got a whole bunch of great creators in the channel, in the chat tonight. We got Southern Gal is amazing. I don't know if she did a live tonight, but she usually does lives on Monday and Friday, I think. but she's awesome. She's got great content. She's an amazing person. The gal is here. I've been kind of busy lately. This is kind of like the busy time of the year for me. Doing okay, Dave. Thanks for asking. Was getting worried you weren't coming on. I was watching a hockey game. Then I got sidetracked with doing some housework, and then my husband is a helicopter pilot, an AP, the technology is bird. Yes. They're going to need all the technology they can get to find this guy. I can guarantee you that much right now. But there's also, who else is in here? Paula Fitzhenry's in here. She's got a channel. So if you guys have channels, feel free to throw them in the chat. I don't mind sharing good content, creator stuff. Nope. Sweet, really, truthy. I guess it's got a ring. Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's hold on. Let me get back to this here.
Community is holding up after spending days on high alert.
A crew in a sheriff's helicopter.
That's the sheriff's helicopter there. I think there's 2 or 3 of them that have been flying in here. The sheriff hasn't been out there for a while, but
Helicopters scan the rugged terrain from overhead, while teams and vehicles and ATVs head up gravel roads, searching for any signs of Travis Decker.
We visibly see him drive by, and they're in no hurry. They're taking their time, speed limit, and they're obviously looking.
Many of these law enforcement units are suited up in fatigues and equipped with heavy weaponry, and are using a restaurant parking lot along Highway 97 as a staging area to find the man charged with kidnapping and killing his 3 daughters.
I have never seen anything like this before, ever. So it's pretty scary, honestly. We didn't expect this when we were driving through here.
The road into the
oh yeah, other thing. Sorry. Thank you, Dino, for reminding me. So scrolling across the bottom here is the GoFundMe account for Heather Brown. Heather Brown's in here. She's an amazing person going through a little bit of a rough time right now, but we got her GoFundMe page right now. So if you feel like sharing, go right ahead. But if you don't have to. But Heather's an amazing person. She's always being thought of here. So we got her GoFundMe account drawing. Thanks, buddy, for reminding me to do that. And all right, let's go back to this here.
This area included an ominous message board that read, "Police activity ahead. Do not pick up hitchhikers." Just past the sign were multiple officers parked on the shoulder at the base of a ravine.
It makes me appreciative of the law enforcement for sure. I feel safe being here.
For the most part, there's all kinds of trails and access roads here. That if somebody really wanted to hide, they could.
We love you too, kiddo. Good to see everybody here tonight. Good to see everybody in the chat.
And you'd never find them.
The latest information investigators have points to Decker potentially being somewhere in the Ingalls Creek or Valley High areas. People in those areas say they are taking precautions and following the sheriff's advice to lock up their homes and vehicles.
We just keep an eye on our neighborhood, and we don't let anyone per se come on our property unless they identify themselves. And we already have pictures of the guy. We know what he looks like. So everyone's on alert.
Joel Marino.
Yeah, so I gave you a wrench, Jingles. You don't have to do anything. You just I give everybody a wrench in here. So I mean, like, if you have a channel, feel free to throw it in the chat. But you're welcome. I'm glad it worked. All right, there we go.
Come on, news.
Investigators are asking people who live in the area to check their cameras for any signs of a lone hiker or other suspicious activity. The U.S. Marshal's Office is offering $20,000 for information that leads to Decker's arrest.
So I know that they were specifically looking for some sort of a hiker that was acting a little suspicious. I don't know what happened with that, but here's this latest press conference. I think this was done yesterday. Here we go.
Remain committed here at the Chelan County Sheriff's Office with our regional partners.
So this was done 1 day ago, and this was, like I said, I think this is the latest on that.
The Douglas County Sheriff's Office, East Wenatchee PD, Wenatchee PD, State Patrol, to continue to pursue justice and make sure their voices are heard. You're going to hear further from our U.S. Marshal partners to kind of elaborate further on how they're going to also assist us in the tracking process. We have not stopped our investigation. Again, We understand that the results from our crime lab processing from the Washington State Patrol.
Yeah, I still kind of, I mean, I'm still like 60-40 that this guy's even still alive, but they seem to think he is. So I wonder what they're going to do, though, if they go a couple more weeks and they still can't find him. I wonder if they're going to call off the dogs. Who knows?
Thank you, Chief Batiste, for your continued assistance on this. Are starting to come back. We want to make sure those are properly processed, additional leads and interviews are conducted, and that, again, our case is ready to go to court when Travis is brought to justice. So I appreciate your time. I will answer more questions, and I'm going to allow the U.S. Marshal Service to take some further questions from you, the media. But again, I appreciate all of you being here. This is the kind of group effort that's going to take to bring justice to this case. Please make sure you keep their names in your mind and that we bring justice back for those young ladies. Girls is what I've understood the family would like me to refer to them as. But
it's going to be a long time before your days are over, Heather. I know it's just sad. It's a sad freaking thing. Oh, okay. It's about. So this is Jingle's channel here. Please remind me to subscribe to the channel because I'll forget. I probably just forgot, but I will. All right, so here we go.
they're deeply in our minds, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Chief Brown with U.S. Marshal Service, Eastern District, Washington. Appreciate everybody being here today. The community support from our law enforcement partners, which the sheriff has already enumerated, and you as a community has been greatly helpful to us. With that support, we're able to involve ourselves and focus on the fugitive investigation. Part of that is to include deploying our rapidly advancing manhunt program. That program brings resources from all over to include funding to support your community, the Sheriff's Department, Border Patrol, and all the other resources so we can navigate the terrain and locate and apprehend.
Thank you, Heather.
The fugitive. We will not stop. We will keep going. He just has to make one mistake, like the sheriff said. We will find him. He will be brought to justice so the community can heal. Thank you.
With best for questions for either two.
Has Decker left any physical evidence behind in areas that you received tips about?
We have found items that are of interest to us that perceive that it could be Mr. Decker. We've also continued to follow up with some of his friends and family, and we believe that we're closing in on his trail.
Sheriff Morrison, what can you tell us about yesterday's possible sighting at Blewett Pass?
Again, this just emphasizes the importance. If you see something, say something. We're appreciative of those group of hikers that were up there, had more acknowledged us as our flight patterns were up there. And then just the behavior that we saw from the lone hiker did not match. That was typical with everyone else we were seeing up there. So again, that sparked our interest. We did put a ground unit on there to continue tracking the prints that we had. We continue to track that down in Eagles Creek and up in the Valley High area. So again, we appreciate everyone, even on the back trails. You need to remain vigilant. And again, we encourage you not to approach the subject. He is still considered dangerous, but please, we need as much information and help from the public as we can get. As we've seen in the past with other manhunts, it is going to take a group effort in the community in order to bring this to a conclusion.
Can you tell what they changed from yesterday to today? It's like you guys were close yesterday and everyone was kind of on edge. I'm just wondering, what about those tactics changed today? Like you guys.
No, our tactics have still continued. We still have a ground team on there. We have dogs out there that we're tracking leads. We're going through sightings. We're also doing trackings of what we have found with footprints. So nothing has changed from yesterday. We've just started to head in a different direction. So until that time, our ground units are still on the ground.
DD is here. Where's DD? If DD is here, good to see you. I don't see you anywhere. She's got a great channel too. Dirty Diana's got a great channel. Where is she? Charlie Manson's got a great channel too, Necessarily Evil. I was over there the other day. But good to see everybody here tonight. Good to see everybody.
We still have resources within the Chelan County Sheriff's Office pursuing that, and we'll continue to hunt. Yes, ma'am.
Concerned that he could be going a different direction towards the Tianaway Trail, towards Clayella?
Absolutely, and I've already been in contact with Kittitas County Sheriff Clay Myers this morning. We know that he has resources on the ground as well. There is nowhere that he's going to be able to go that we don't have units waiting for him. King County Sheriff's Office has already been here assisting us. Snohomish County, been in touch with Okanagan County. We have Douglas County Sheriffs in close contact. They have the Grant County Sheriff today. He is surrounded. Washington State knows who he is. We're going to continue to be in there, and he's got a lot of ground to cover. Eventually, he's going to tire and he's going to make a mistake.
How confident are you that that lone hiker you guys spotted is Travis Decker?
We feel pretty confident that it could be him, but again, we're not going to ever go out and say 100% until we have him in our grip.
Sheriff Morrison, when the dogs find Decker, how does that process work after that?
Again, Mr. Decker is going to be able to dictate how this ends. We've encouraged him time and time again to give up, do so peacefully. That's what we're aiming for. But again, Mr. Decker is going to be the one who's going to dictate how this ends. We do not just deploy dogs, just to deploy dogs. They're there to assist us in a tracking process and, of course, to protect the handlers. But he's going to be given the same professional courtesy as any other citizen within Washington State or the United States. We're going to follow de-escalation principles that are followed here in Washington State. We're going to communicate. We're going to do contact and cover, maintain our distance. Our intent is not to hurt or injure him. It is to bring him to justice and make sure that he's in good shape so he can face the trial.
Are there anything as far as motive goes?
And again, I've said it before, I don't think the motive would even matter. As far as we see it, 3 young girls have been killed. I don't think the motive is going to matter.
Are there any updated pictures of the person's gun or any game camera footage or fingers?
We're continuing to reach out and talk to different residents throughout the Valley High and the Ingalls Creek area to see if they do have any cameras mounted in their house. Again, the most recent photos we had is what we've shared. And that was a couple days before he went off grid and, of course, was last seen up the icicle.
Have there been any found supply caches, reported burglaries, and why do you think Decker is now armed?
I don't think any information has been out that he's armed, but I mean, I certainly feel that he is dangerous. If any of you remember the search that we had about 1.5 to 2 years ago in Kittitas County, we recognized that subject was raiding campgrounds. He had broken into the Liberty grocery store. So again, if you're out there and you notice that you have a vacation home out there or campsite, we want you to keep track of your supplies, of your cabins. If you do have things that are missing, even if it's minor items.
True that. I mean, right now he's only been, they're looking for him. Obviously, they're considering him a pretty good suspect. But they still got to be careful for what they say, just in case. I just don't particularly think he's alive, but that doesn't mean I'm right. He could be very much alive. Who knows? All right, so let's. I do want to hold on 1 second. I want to go back to this here because this is pretty. Like this guy could freaking be anywhere in here. This is pretty mountainous territory here. I mean, this is Wenatchee here. I think they said they've spotted him or spotted. They were down in here somewhere. Earlier this week. I forget the actual name of the place, but it was down in here somewhere. But this is all, I mean, he could be anywhere in here. I mean, he's heavily trained to be outdoors. So, but the thing is that most of the time, these guys don't really go very far. Most of these guys are usually found, I think it's like within 1 to 2 miles from where they were last seen, but there's a river here. I mean, he could be anywhere. But my opinion, if he's not dead, he's probably either receiving help or he's just pretty close to where they last saw him. Let me see here. So let's go here. Back to this here.
In that case, in the previous manhunt, we do know they were just taking a couple items out of coolers. But it was those campers that were attentive and realizing how many supplies they had. This could be a way that he could continue his path out there.
So no biggest challenge right now.
Terrain. I mean, we have a very unique terrain when you get to the west end of our county. Again, I mentioned it before, 87% of our county is not accessible by road. If you go out there, it's steep terrain. It's really wooded. It's not the easiest to access. We have the Pacific Crest Trail, but another unique feature we do have in our favor is that we are a tourist destination. So we have a lot of people out there also recreating on those trails. So we're encouraging them, if you are going to come here, of course, be safe, but help us be those additional eyes and let him know that he has no safe spot to go.
Sheriff, was there a barricaded suspect situation last night on Field Pass? Was that related at all?
We did get a call of a potential subject that was in a residence up in the Valley High area. based on the information we got from our sergeant that briefed the administration here, that did not come out to be a valid call. But again, we're going to continue to handle every single lead that we get as a valid complaint. New tactics as in searching and or in how we contact people? Okay. So, I mean, anyone that has been following Washington state law over here over the last 4 years, of course, we have Washington state's de-escalate Washington, which was I-940. And of course, it's just how we contact. I mean, we're going to control our when we're out there. We're working on contact and cover officers. We've invested heavily, thanks to our county commissioners and other federal partners, with less lethal tools. Again, we're not looking to injure anybody. We just want to take the subject into custody and make sure he stands trial.
I know there's state, local, and federal agencies. Are you guys working with EPA?
Are you talking about which partners we have? Sorry, getting a little bit of background. Yeah.
Okay. Are you guys working with any agencies?
I did have contact today with some enforcement agents up in Canada. We continue to work with our prosecutor's office on that front. But again, we've appreciated all the assistance we've had internationally and nationally assisting us. I mean, we're a medium-sized agency, and we recognize without the support of our partners federally, state, and locally, we certainly would have a unique challenge that I don't think we'd be able to take on by ourselves. So we're thankful for that.
One more question, please. One more reopening.
High School Road was already opened back up. I know the U.S. Forest Service, who's also been one of our partners we've been communicating with, has put out in their press releases that Enchantments is open again. Again, we'd encourage people to be cautious out there. It is a very wide open terrain, and now you have the potential of a subject who is perceived to be dangerous out there as well that's unaccounted for. So come prepared and know that if there's lots of other places here in Washington State you can recreate.
Oh, you guys are cracking me up here. Dirty Diana's here. I found her. She's right there. Good to see you. Got the umbrella in case. Get this, reading the comments backwards. Yeah, I do a lot of things backwards. I'm Canadian, remember? All right, so hold on a second. All right, here we go.
Of course, we want you to come here and visit Chelan County, but if you do so, please be careful. We appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
One person has caused all of this panic over there. It's just amazing. Tracy Fleetwood's here. Good to see Tracy Fleetwood. Good to see Dirty Diana. Feel free to throw your channel in here. All right, so we're going to move on to something else. I just wanted to catch up on that. That was done a day ago, so I don't think I'm pretty sure they don't have any clue to where he is. But who knows? Maybe they do. I'm pretty sure they don't. Of course, let me figure that out. Okay, so let's go. I do want to go to this case here because everyone, please subscribe to Dirty Diana. Thank you, Heather. This is a crazy case here too. I don't know if anybody's heard of this case this week here. This was done.
The story goes on. This is a picture of Josh.
Hold on a second. When was this done? This was done a day ago. So, deeply religious Michigan couple, Joshua and Rachel Peeland, were sentenced to at least 20 years in prison after allowing their newborn daughter, Abigail, to die from untreated jaundice, a curable condition that could have been helped. But despite warnings from a midwife and Rachel's mother, the couple refused to take the baby to the hospital. This is just one of those cases where you just shake your head. It's just really sad. So this is going to be a little triggering, just to let people know. So here we go. This is from Long Crime Network.
Case, the child was just 61 hours old. And even though they were told to take their baby to a doctor, these parents didn't. Instead of calling.
Beasley's here. Where's Beasley? Good to see Beasley. There you go. Get back to you in weeks. All right.
911, they prayed the condition would go away. This pair was convicted of murder for what they.
So I got like I said, I got the scanner on too. Let me know if that's bothering the chat, but I've got the scanner for the area up there, and actually been listening to that too. Here we go.
didn't do for their newborn, and they just learned their fate this week. And what may shock you even more, the couple seems to still not believe what they did was wrong. And they say they would never take a child to the hospital, even if it could have saved her life. We're on the case, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. This is a story about faith, medicine, and the law. And all three collided in a courtroom in Michigan. I want you to meet the Pyland family. That is the dad, Josh, and the mom, Rachel. This couple lived near Lansing, Michigan. Joshua used to serve in the Marines. On LinkedIn, he wrote that's where he learned the value of good character. Josh's wife was Rachel. The two seem to spend a lot of time with their children. There's pictures of the family out and about in Michigan exploring the outdoors. On August 29th, 2016, Rachel made a big announcement on Facebook that they were going to become a family of 5. We have a due date adjustment, she wrote. Baby number 3 is due on February 6th, 2017. All glory to the Lord for another healthy baby, she wrote. Joshua and Rachel were very much into their faith, and you'll see that as this story goes on. This is a picture of Josh in 2012 being baptized in a pool. He and Rachel also posted Bible verses regularly on social media. Faith is an important part to this story. This couple said they were expecting the birth of their 3rd child on February 6th, 2017. And here's a picture of that baby. Abigail Jean. She was
Look at this little kid.
born on her due date. But days later, Josh took to LinkedIn and wrote that, quote, our daughter Abigail Jean passed away last Thursday morning. We are standing in faith for her resurrection according to the word of God. You can see several people posted comments saying that the Pyland family was in their thoughts, and Josh responded thanking people for their prayers. But Josh didn't say how his newborn baby died. That baby was just over 60 hours old. That's less than 3 days. Young Abigail was born in the Pyland's home with the midwife helping on her due date, February 6th. Now that midwife noticed that Rachel's newborn was jaundiced. It's not uncommon. Babies can have a yellowish skin tone, and it's the result of bilirubin levels being high, the baby's liver not developing, being able to handle that bilirubin yet, and it can lead to issues like brain damage down the line if it's not treated. The midwife, though, said that Rachel brushed it off. Rachel's mom even said that the baby should be taken to the hospital. She was there for the birth as well, but Rachel declined, citing the couple's religious beliefs. According to the Michigan Free Press, when the midwife told Rachel that her
Yeah, this is a crazy case. This is definitely crazy. My grandbaby born at 1 pound 9 ounces, 1 pound. Now 5.5 months later, she is healthy, but without NICU, she wouldn't have made it. Yep. As far as I'm concerned, these people should never have children. This is equivalent to murder, in my opinion.
her child was going to die. Rachel said, quote, God makes no mistakes. Instead of calling 911, the Pylands prayed over their child's body. Abigail was only alive for less than 3 days. Her death, medical experts say, was preventable, but her parents did nothing. The authorities found out about what had happened.
Mandy's here. Good to see Mandy. Hi, Mandy. How are you? Good to see you.
Because Rachel's brother, who lives in California, called police in Michigan. Initially, Joshua and Rachel were charged with manslaughter, but those charges were later upgraded to a charge of murder as detectives learned more about the Pylands, their beliefs, and their belief in the power of prayer instead of seeking medical treatment. Even facing decades in prison, the Pylands both took the stand in their defense at their trial. Now, they didn't seem to appear to believe that what
Kelt is here. Hey, buddy. Kelt is here. Good to see you. Yeah, this is straight out murder. This is, I don't know what to tell you.
happened was their responsibility or wrong. Rachel said on the stand, quote, we believed praying was the best thing we could possibly do for her. Even if she had died from some kind of struggle, we wouldn't have called 911. Josh also took the stand, and here's part of what he said per the Lansing State Journal.
You don't know anything about what jaundice is, and how severe it could be to your child, correct?
I know I do that.
You're going to rely on the professional who you hired to attend the birth to inform you about these things, correct, sir?
I rely on my creator who created us.
And you're also going to rely on the professional, right, sir? That you hired to attend the birth of your daughter, Abigail, the trained professional, right?
Good to see everybody in the chat. Good to see Kelt. Good to see you, buddy. Just going over a couple of the cases of the week. Then we're going to move on to the Molly Bish case up here.
Hired our trained professional for baby catching. We rely on the Lord for all we need.
Defense attorneys tried to argue that the couple did something to save Abigail. They put her by a window. Sunlight can help with those bilirubin levels and be a treatment for jaundice. Before I get back to the trial, I should also tell you this. The next year after Abigail's death, the couple had another baby. It was a girl they named Verity. Within hours, though, of her birth, an anonymous tip was made to Child Protective Services that baby into their care and away from the Pylons. Verity was taken to a hospital where she was diagnosed as significantly jaundiced, and she needed a blood transfusion. In fact, more than one. The Lansing State Journal wrote, though, she was doing well after those procedures. The care that Verity received was the kind of care that the Pylons did not allow her sister Abigail to get in her short life. In March of this year, the Pylons were convicted of murder, and just this past week, they were sentenced. At the sentencing, Rachel's mom spoke and made it seem that Josh's religious teachings cut Rachel off from her family.
All right, so this is just coming from AI overview. So jaundice in newborns is pretty common. It's where a baby's skin and eyes appear yellow due to a high level of bilirubin. I don't know how to pronounce that in the blood. So it's a blood thing. It's an often temporary and harmless condition, but in some cases it can be a sign of a more serious problem according to medical records. This is jaundice in babies. Babies get it all the time. Let's see here. Symptoms: yellowing of the skin, whites of the eyes. Yellowing may start on the face and spread down to the body. In some cases, babies with jaundice may be sleepy. Well, that's a good thing. Or have a difficult feeding. Urine may be dark yellow, and their poop may be pale. When to seek medical attention if the jaundice doesn't appears within the first 24 hours of life. Hold on, let me read that again. If jaundice appears within the first 24 hours of life, if the baby's skin is deeply yellow or yellowing spreads to the palms or soles of the feet, if the baby is not feeling well or seems unusually sleepy, high-pitched cry, that's every baby really, if the baby has any other symptoms that are concerning. So it's pretty normal, actually.
Family. Here's part of what she said per the Lansing State Journal to her daughter.
Is that what you interpret Christianity to be? Becoming an island unto yourself?
Her mom also said, with her daughter set to spend decades in prison, that the courtroom and those moments you just witnessed there could be the last.
Hey, Mustang 65, to see you. Mustang's in here. Let me know if Kelt needs a wrench. But she was already in the NICU, like Jingles 78. I don't know. Daughter had, I forget the statistic. I'll have to look that up about how many do.
That they ever have speaking face to face. On the stand, before the judge gave her a sentence, Rachel stood by her religious beliefs, seemingly not taking fault for not allowing her daughter a shot at recovery from a curable disease by saying, "My husband and I believe that
60%, approximately 60% of newborns develop jaundice, a yellow discoloration. So it's it happens a lot. In fact, I think they check for that. That's one of the things they check. Right, sorry.
the very best thing we can do is seek healing from Jesus Christ." The couple also was active on social media in the days leading up to their conviction. They posted Bible verses almost daily on their Facebook page. But this week, the judge sentenced both of them to a minimum 20 years in prison for the death of their daughter, Abigail. Joining us now from Michigan to talk about this case is criminal defense attorney Wade Fink. Thank you for taking the time to be with us on Law and Crime.
Heather's too funny. Kelt, if you want a wrench, Dave is very generous with them. That's too funny.
What does the law say when it comes to a parent's decision of care for their child, especially when it comes to religion?
You know, it's a good question, Chris, and this has long-standing roots in our law and jurisprudence over many decades and centuries, actually, back to vaccination efforts back in the 1800s. But the lay of the land is basically that where religious freedom abuts putting children in danger or neglecting children, then parental rights, so to speak, or even if legitimately held religious beliefs.
So basically, the only reason why I give wrenches out is because if you have, like say if you have a channel or people who have channels, you can throw them in the chat here with a wrench. I don't think you can do that if you don't. But you don't have to have a wrench. It's not a requirement. But all right, so let's back to this.
Beliefs put a child in danger by community standards, then the state has a right to regulate that. The community has a right to say what is appropriate conduct and what is not in those circumstances. And really that comes from the idea that, a parents can make a decision for themselves about their medical care, about numerous different things, that a child who's not fully grown, not fully developed, does not have the same rational decision makings that a parent does, can't make that decision for themselves. So the community and the state has a right to kind of set what is appropriate for a parent to decide or not decide based on what their beliefs are.
Because in this case, it was a baby, Abigail. She had a jaundice, which is not particularly uncommon in babies, and it's a trip to the hospital can save a child's life from that condition and make it very minor. In this case, this couple was originally charged with manslaughter, and then it's upgraded to murder. Why would that upgrade? What about this case stands out to you as to why those charges needed to be at that level?
That's a great question. And
I do think a blood transfusion is a little bit different than getting help for a condition like jaundice, because sometimes blood transfusions aren't going to fix the problem either. So, but I think that this case here is a little different than a blood transfusion because jaundice is difficult, but it's very treatable.
And a particularly unique thing about this case, because the majority, at least in my own research on this, the majority of cases that fall into this category generally get charged as manslaughter. The tragedies that occur in these situations usually have an intent element lacking, because as you asked, that's the difference between the murder charge, second-degree murder, which requires a specific intent to kill, or creating a situation that is so reckless, that is so indifferent to the human life that you essentially intended to kill someone. That's
like ear infections. If anybody's had children, they know that ear infections are like just par for the course. Your child's going to get an ear infection. It's just the way it goes. And years ago, they didn't have medicine for ear infections, so people would just die. I think mortality rates were pretty bad. But now an ear infection, a simple antibiotic is pretty much rule of thumb. So, but a blood transfusion is completely, because sometimes, or bone marrow transplant, stuff like that, that's invasive. It's
the difference between murder and manslaughter, which is more of a gross negligence standard without the intent to kill. So I think it's very unique and telling that the prosecutors viewed this case as so indifferent, so extremely reckless by these parents, this decision, that it amounted to an intentional homicide. And the jury bought into that despite the arguments to the contrary.
I do think parents should have some rights of what they can or have to accept, right? Like, there's some different types of surgeries that can be done to fix things, but I do think parents should have the right to say, no, I don't want to do that. But for just a condition like this here, jaundice, it's just like such a routine thing these days. It's I don't know.
Right, because I know as a defense attorney, I mean, how would you have defended this case? Because listen, I mean, this couple, they could have very easily brought this baby to the hospital and hopefully her life would have been saved. But also, I mean, they do seem authentic in their religious beliefs, agree or disagree with them, where how do you prove that they were trying to kill their child as opposed to just being tied up way too much in their religious beliefs?
Another great question, Chris. And from what I can tell, as the outside observer who wasn't involved in the case, this was defended the way that I probably think it was the best route. And essentially what the defense said through the testimony of not only their clients, but the surrounding circumstances, I believe they used the...
Are you sure they have 3 other kids? Because I'll have to look into that.
Example that the parents at one point put the baby by a window to allow sunlight, which can be a treatment for jaundice and extreme circumstances. They tried to present the situation for what you just said, Chris, which is this was a legitimately held, deeply believed religious decision that was made by the parents. And
oh, okay. So they had a few that survived. Okay. Number 4 last baby was 5. Okay. They had 2 before Abigail and then another baby after they lost Ab. Okay. Thank you, Truth Seeker. Welcome back.
And that can't form an intent then to kill. What I would say to myself in making that argument, which I think is the best one you can, that because this is a true belief, it can't be intentional. And what I think this case really comes down to, it's such a tragedy, is the extreme indifference. Because when you are a parent and when you take on the responsibility for another life, you cannot act with the selfishness that these 2 parents acted with, at least by the evidence as I've seen it. And we've seen that in other cases, in the Oxford case, the Oxford shooting, and many other parents who make decisions that chiefly are about themselves. That child does not get to make a decision as a baby, an infant, on whether or not it's going to seek medical treatment for a very curable disease that we know what causes it by science, and doctors know how to cure it. So if you want to be a martyr yourself, that's one thing. But the law does not allow you to make a martyr of your child, who doesn't get to make those decisions. And your extreme beliefs, whether you deeply, truly have them or not, have to give way to a general sense of what's right. And here, I think it's on that element, the extreme indifference to the child's life and what they don't have the ability to choose, which is to get medical care. So I guess all in all, what I'm saying, Chris, is I would have defended it similarly, but I think that where this case, Rose was on the idea that they created a situation that was so indifferent to whether the child would live or die that it amounts to murder. That's also a form of second-degree murder.
And, this is a story that I think from our perspective, we're talking about the law. We're not talking about, whether someone should be into their faith or not. But that is part of the story and how this potentially could have played to a jury. When you have a client who is so forward with their faith like these were, how do you as a defense attorney handle that and how they could come off to a jury and how...
I should never, ever not believe Miranda. So I apologize for that. I thought that was, I knew they had 2, but
how do you control that in a courtroom?
This is extremely common. Another great question, Chris, because it not only comes up in the context of religious beliefs, but just whatever deeply held conviction that clients have. I think it's probably one of the biggest challenges I have as a criminal defense attorney is the deeply held conviction.
I mean, I don't know. I would have done, but that's me. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's when you have children, you're in and out of doctor's offices a lot. That's the way it is, man.
Convictions, whether they're religious or other, that my clients may have that I may not see as in their best interest. So, in this case, look, we are advocates for our clients. We are there to make.
We love Dee Dee. She's awesome. She's an awesome person. Has a great channel. Always a laugh over there for sure.
Make sure that not only they get a fair trial and a fair shake, but we're kind of the guiding hand, the legal system to through its.
God, she was tiny. Huh.
Avoid pitfalls and things that a client may not otherwise know on their own. But at the end of the day, it's their story. And as long as you feel your client is competent and understands your advice, they're eyes wide open about the decisions they're making, they take your counsel as to how you think it's going to play out, then I feel that I've done my duty. If I need to share their story that I don't necessarily think is the best.
Jaundice is bad if you don't treat it. If you treat it, it's minor. I mean, like I said, ear infections and sinusitis and stuff like that, sinus infections. Years ago, kids used to die from that stuff all the time because they didn't know how to treat it. Yeah, the baby, I think it wasn't long. I think it was 48 hours or so. Dee Dee is awesome. Dee Dee's amazing. Okay, a little bit more of this, and I want to move on to the another case.
A strategy. Sometimes I will, make them feel as though they're heard, and their story will come out through the best advocacy I can do. If I think it's an objectionable, unethical, illegal defense or something of that nature, of course, then it becomes the lawyer's duty to strategize and make decisions in their best interest. But generally speaking, to your question, I run up against deeply held convictions that I think are either wrong for one reason or another, not the least of which, legally speaking, or to a jury, has very little chance of success. And you try to counsel, and sometimes clients come to their senses and understand that your strategy and come to agree with it. Other times you butt heads, and that's a very challenging part of criminal defense work. And I can imagine reading about this case and viewing it from.
They put the baby in the window.
From an outside perspective, that this was a major challenge for the defense attorneys.
Yeah, because when Josh Pylan took the stand, there was a clip that I watched, and if I was a juror, I was sitting there being like, this guy's just talking about himself. Like, he was talking about his religious beliefs. He was talking about, even if you agree with his religious beliefs, he was just talking about himself the entire time and talking to the prosecutor. And as a juror, I would have sat there and said, like, this guy just doesn't get it. When it comes to the decision of whether or not your client is going to take the stand, especially in this case where it seems that he has such deep convictions, I mean, what is the conversation?
You can't put any type of grief on that to lose a child. It's got to be probably one of the worst things that could ever happen to you. I don't know what's going on in the chat here, but it's classic.
Like, and how much control do you have as the defense attorney who wants to win a case or at least defend your client to the best of your ability? What is the conversation like ahead of that?
So there are very few things. I shouldn't say very few. There are a handful of things, if not a few, an extra handful, that are solely client decisions. In other words, no matter whether the.
I'm very sorry to hear that, though, Jingles, for sure. I caught the clap from Dino's tractor seat. Oh.
Lawyer agrees or disagrees, they're up to the client. One of those is their right to testify or not testify. So strategically, how I feel about something can be overridden by the client in that circumstances. And there's a few others, whether to plead guilty.
My sister lost a child, so I know it's not it's terrible. Never get over it. It's terrible.
And a few other things that clients solely control. In a case like this, if I knew the testimony was going to be what it was, so self-serving. And it's precisely what I said earlier, that, about why making decisions about yourself is one thing, but for others, based on your self-proclaimed religious beliefs that are okay for you. If I knew that that's how it was going to come out, it obviously would have been my counsel not to testify. With clients who have insisted upon testifying that I didn't think should, I'll do mock cross-examinations to show them how it's going to come out and try to shed some light and open their eyes as to why my strategy is what it is. In this particular case, there was probably a debate amongst the defense attorneys on what to do, because you needed to show the sincerity of the defendant's belief in order to cut against the second-degree murder charge. That's the whole idea. We're showing this religious belief is so sincerely believed, they couldn't have intended to kill. Maybe it was manslaughter, but it certainly wasn't an intentional homicide. So they needed that evidence in there. And whether they could have got that through other testimony or the prosecution witnesses, I don't know the answer to that. But generally speaking, it is a very difficult conversation with some clients. Some clients, they'll get it on why they can't testify. And people, I'm always going to remind you, don't mean to go off course, Chris, but very important. As if you're a juror or if you're observing the criminal justice system, there are very good reasons that a defense attorney may not put a client on the stand, and it doesn't just mean they're guilty. There are a lot of reasons that you would do that that don't necessarily mean they're guilty. So I always try to remind my future jurors out there watching that there's a lot of reasons we don't put defendants on the stand necessarily.
No, that's a good point to make, and we always welcome that because we all get the jury summons in the mail, so it's a good thing to remember before we.
All right, so that's the end of that. I just wanted to share that. That happened when did it happen? I think it happened a while ago, but this was an interview with the this guy here. So that happened a day ago. All right, so I do want to move on to a couple of different cases here. Let me stop sharing that. I want to work on this case here because this guy, hold on a second. This is regarding the list cases here. This is what's his face again in the spotlight. This was done 4 days ago. Johnny Ray, the attorney for the Go-Go Beach unaliving victim Shannon Gilbert, says the statements of Asa Ellerup, the ex-wife of Go-Go Beach SK or Rex Heuermann, accused SK or Rex Heuermann, are all about posturing herself to show she has no involvement in the unalivings. So this was done 4 days ago, like I said. This guy here, his name is John Ray. He's been all over this case from the beginning for Shannon Gilbert. And this is in regards to the, we'll play the next one too. But just wanted to go over this really good here really quick.
Gilbert, whose death and disappearance led to the discovery of the other Gilgo Beach murder victims. John, thanks for coming back on the show. What is reaction first to Asa Ellerup's comments in this documentary that she's fallen in love with him all over again, seeing him in jail, accused with 7 murders?
Did I say John McCain? I meant Johnny Ray. Why were you riding the tractor naked? John McCain. He's dead. He died. I know he's dead.
You have to understand, I think, in looking at this entire series that was put out, that this is a posture. This is a show. And she's being paid a lot of money to put on a show. And she and her daughter are doing very well at that. This is all big. This is fake.
This guy seriously believes that this woman here, Rex Heuermann's ex-wife, is faking that she didn't know anything about this. What do you guys think? Like, put a 1 in the chat if you think she knew, or a 2 in the chat if you think she didn't know.
And her statements are informed by this fakery. What I mean is this. If you listen throughout the entire 3-part series, one thing becomes very clear. Both of those women, no matter what, are actually setting it up to show that they have no involvement in this, in these killings or in anything connected to these killings. Neither one of them has any involvement,
John,
if you listen to them. And that's what they're professing. So I don't trust a word you're saying.
It's weird to me. Okay, but what's weird to me is that if you don't want to have any involvement, and yet, as Ella's hair was found in the tape on some of the victims, so the involvement is there.
Karen Lee's here. Is Karen Lee here? Hey, Karen. It's always good to see Karen Lee in here. I don't see her though. There she is. Hey, Karen, good to see you. Good to see everybody. But Karen Lee is here. Sorry, I'm trying to listen to this scanner. All right, nope. All right, here we go. Good to see Karen.
Why wouldn't she just disavow this man? She's divorced him, right? She divorced him like within, I think, months of this arrest. So why would she now profess this undying love and suggest that he's innocent? That makes her look maybe.
We got JC Ant here in the house too. Hey, JC Ant, good to see you. What did we have? We had 1-1, so 2. That was 1 and 2 for again. JC Ann's in here. JC Ann's got a great channel too. I think she's got a couple of lives coming up tomorrow. I'm not sure. But feel free to throw your channel in here too. Anybody that's got a channel, throw it in the chat if you want. I love promoting good creators, so JC Ann's one of them for sure. All right, here we go.
Be even more culpable, or possibly more culpable, and now she can be compelled to testify because she divorced him and doesn't have spousal immunity.
Well, you still, I think, maintain your spousal immunity during the time that you're married. So I don't think that she loses anything in that regard. But if you think about it, for her to actually pretend that she still loves him and so forth, well, maybe I should take that back and say maybe she does, but she loves him in a very sick context, a very dark context in which these people were living, in which they were operating. And it's undeniable, as you just pointed out, certain undeniable things.
Sorry, Karen. So 1 was for if you think that Acer, Rex Heuermann's ex-wife, knew anything about Rex Heuermann, and 2 for no. I think that's what 420. You think Acer didn't know? That's right. Thank you, Heather. The daughter might have known, but I don't think the wife did.
It's undeniable that her daughter's hairs were found on.
Put it this way, I don't think the wife cared about anything, except for her kids. I don't think she even cared for him.
2 of the bodies, that her hairs were found on 2 of the bodies. And it's undeniable that each of them were living in that house.
So this case, sorry, Truth Seeker. So this case here is about the Long Island serial killer case over there in Long Island, New York. That spanned a good 20, 25 years, 30 years maybe. And he was arrested 2 years ago. I think 2 years ago now. Was it a year ago or 2 years? Year and a half ago, probably. But this on the screen here, this is Johnny Ray. He's the lawyer for Shannon Gilbert, who isn't part of this whole investigation. But he's been pretty much one of the spokespeople for most of the families. And then this on the left here, this is Rex Heuermann's wife. He's the one being charged, or ex-wife here. And that I believe this is the daughter here. So.
House throughout the time that Ray Tierney, the DA himself, had said, he was almost quoting me, that he had hundreds of prostitutes, hundreds, that were going through that house. Now, that's a 1,343 square foot house. It's a bungalow.
Tell you love him or hate him, he's been all over law enforcement out there. If it wasn't for this guy, this lawyer here, this case probably would have went cold forever. I mean, he's been pretty outspoken about the Shannon Gilbert thing, and he still seems to think that she's part of this whole thing. They haven't tied Shannon Gilbert to any of these yet. They probably won't. But I think this guy's a pretty good guy. He's a little weird, but he's I'm pretty sure that he does pro bono work. He doesn't get paid for any of it. This guy scares the daylights out of me every time. Don't forget the maple syrup, buddy.
Oh, in essence. And you mean to tell me a married couple for 27 years doesn't know what's going on downstairs?
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app.
All right, shut up. Okay, so we'll play this one here. This is a couple of minutes long, and then we'll move on to this I just saw, and then Lawrence Spear. So let's do this here.
Rex Heuermann's family breaking their silence in a new documentary nearly 2 years after.
This was done 4 days ago. Rex Heuermann's daughter says she believes her father is most likely the Gilgo Beach unaliver. So the daughter thinks he did it too. That's not good.
After News 12 broke the news about an arrest in the Gilgo Beach murders. In the documentary, Heuermann's daughter says she believes her dad is most likely the killer. News 12's crime report.
Yeah, Shannon Gilbert is, part of the reason why they got this back into this case, in my opinion. She, the whole thing would have kind of gone not solved.
Reporter Krista McNally has the story.
She now believes that her father may be the Gilgo Beach killer.
Victoria Heuermann feels her father may have committed the crime.
So that was the son. So he's got 2 kids, I think. That's the son, and that's the daughter there. This is the son. He has, I don't know what he has, some sort of condition here, and then that's the daughter.
Committed the crimes he's accused of. Heuermann making the bombshell revelation in a new Peacock documentary.
Victoria her feelings and her emotions have evolved.
Heuermann's family was paid to participate in the Gilgo Beach Killer House of Secrets documentary, which gives an inside look into their family life and home where investigators believe the murders could have occurred.
Say if they really did happen down here, he really must have.
Should we say the sugar pop killer? Serial killer? Surreal? Or serial? Surreal. Can we say surreal? Serial killer.
Been like Superman. For us not to have noticed anything ever.
Rex's ex-wife, Asa Ellerup, opening up about their relationship.
Am I still seeing you? I'm sorry.
Yes, you are.
Ellerup visited Rex in Riverhead Jail, and we now know the mysterious other visitor was his friend, David Jimenez.
It's like, did you do it? And then
Jimenez revealed that he asked Rex if he killed these women, and all the accused murderer did was shed a tear.
I think you did it.
Heuermann is accused of murdering 7 women in.
So these are the 7 here. This guy's going to be linked to more than this, but these are. I got into this case when Jessica Taylor here, but all 7 of these are being linked to him.
Dumping their bodies across Long Island. His ex-wife still doesn't believe he was capable of committing these crimes.
She's not able to process that.
In the documentary, Ellerup even refers to her now ex-husband as her hero.
No freaking way is this man going.
I will sub to you 2 jingles for sure. Yeah, I like Noe. Noe's cool. Let's see here.
Out soliciting sex from a sex worker, killing them, and dumping them on Gilgo Beach.
Krista McNally, News 12.
All right, so that's that. What is this here? When was this done here?
The fact that there were 10.
All right, this was done 3 weeks ago. We'll watch a little bit of this and then
Bodies found in one area makes me feel like they're linked. How could it not be?
so this is the dumping ground here. All of these this here. I'll have to go over this stuff again, but these are the most intriguing ones here. And then there's we know who these two are now. It's so weird how I forget all the time about these here.
The man who picked her up looked like an ogre. He's calling these poor young girls 16, 17, 18 times in a row. The pizza crust was actually what got him arrested. It was weeks that the media stood there every single day. There were bulldozers. There were crime scene vehicles. He had guns in the house, up to 200. Detectives found a planning document. It was a basically how to kill guide, going through every possible scenario.
Yeah, my personal opinion is he's going to go down as New York's most prolific SKer ever. I wouldn't be surprised if he's responsible for at least 20. But this is his. This is going to go down as his memorandum here. But he's just a terrible speller, and he literally dispose of box of plastic buzz. Yeah, this guy here has issues for sure. But this is his lists, right? Like,
once he met the victim until they were dead. This is Murder Maps.
Today, we will continue to plot out every detail of Gilgo Beach murders on a map.
Rex Heuermann is innocent until proven guilty. This is Long Island South Shore, and we're looking at Nassau and Suffolk counties. Now, let's take a closer look at the victims.
10 sets of remains were discovered in the search for Shannon Gilbert along Ocean Parkway. When her body was discovered, that number bumped up to 11.
See, the thing is, they went to go looking for her. So the family of Shannon Gilbert, along with Johnny Ray and everybody, were trying to get them to go back out there and look for Shannon Gilbert along, the Oak Beach boardwalks here. And when they did that, they found most of these unalivings. There were a lot of them.
In this investigation leading up to his arrest, there have been 11 sets of remains recovered. So Maureen Brainard Barnes was a single mom from Norwich, Connecticut, trying to just make some extra money to pay her rent. I understand that she was possibly getting evicted from her home. So
Yeah, he can't spell at all. I don't know where he went to school, but I wonder if he did it on purpose. Do you think there's a possibility he was spelling like that on purpose? Because, I'm not the greatest speller in the world, but he's just awful. Terrible. Who kicked him out? The cops? This is about Noe. What happened to get him trespassed? I don't know. That's terrible. That's awful. Terrible. He was doing a live. Hey, Charlotte's here. Hey, Charlotte. Good to see you. We were worried about you because I haven't seen you for a couple of weeks. Charlotte's here in the house. Whoops.
He went out to meet Rex Heuermann in 2007, and she disappeared. And Maureen was actually the only victim that was not wrapped in burlap of the Gilgo Four. The fact that Maureen was not wrapped in burlap makes me think that the serial killer learned that he needed to hide his victims better. So Maureen was contacted 16 times before she vanished. and the person that was calling her was calling from a burner phone. So Melissa Barthélemy was originally from Buffalo, and she was living in the Bronx at the time she disappeared. She had dreams of becoming a hairdresser, and one night in 2009, she vanished.
In the weeks following Barthélemy's disappearance,
I'm telling you, that whole microphone issue on Dee Dee's channel the other day, that was fucking hilarious. That was probably one of the hardest. I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. Your new Zaddy is here. Hey, buddy, good to see you. Feel free to throw your channel here in the chat. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Noe, but that sucks. Noe's a good guy.
Appearance, her sister began receiving phone calls from a man using Melissa's phone. The calls continued for weeks. In one call, the caller told the young girl that he had killed Melissa.
Megan Waterman was...
It's so awful what they did, the person here did to the family, because they wouldn't leave her alone. The sister.
22 and one of the youngest victims. She traveled from Maine to Long Island, where she was contacted on a...
Doodlebug's here. Hey, Doodlebug, good to see you. Doodlebug's got an awesome channel. I was over there. When was it? Was that today or yesterday? Or the other day? What was the case you guys were talking about? You and Arctic Fox? Awesome channel. Arctic Fox is great too. It was good to see that. I just had to leave. I had to go yesterday. Okay. You can throw that here in the chat if you want, Doodlebug. That was an awesome interview. She does great work. Chance Edmonston. Right. And that was the mom, right? Doodlebug's awesome.
Burner phone. She was last seen leaving the Holiday Inn Express in Hop Hog at 1:15 a.m. and hasn't been seen since.
Megan Waterman was a 22-year-old mother from Maine, working as an escort. On June 5th, 2010, she was contacted by a burner phone. The following day, at 1:31 a.m., she was contacted by the same burner phone. There is security footage of her leaving a Holiday Inn Express.
One thing about this case, though, tells me that there's a kind of like a ring. Southern Gal's still here. That was his mom. Yep. Okay. That's what I thought. Something about this case, though, is strange because I wouldn't doubt. I'm not going to say. I don't think he was the only one. I think he was getting fed these girls through some sort of an app or something like that. Or I don't think he was just meeting these girls on his own. Somebody was either helping him find these girls, or because I think he was looking for a specific type of victim. That's just my opinion.
Express in Hop Hog, Long Island, around that exact time. She was never seen alive again.
So Amberlynn Costello was 27.
I think I don't know if somebody was completely like involved in the thing, but I think it's possible that there was some sort of a circuit or a ring of this whole thing going on, and I think that Shannon Gilbert also fell into that trap. The whole thing, I think, is connected. That's just my opinion. It could be. And she got out of there in time, but I think Shannon Gilbert died by accident. I don't think anybody unalived her. I could be wrong, but I think if she would have stayed there, she probably would have been part of this whole ring.
She was living with two other roommates in West Babylon, Long Island. On the night she went out with Rex, one of her roommates actually saw her getting picked up in a Chevrolet Avalanche and drove off. Once Amber disappeared, the roommates gave police a description of the car that she was picked up in.
Thank you, Charlotte. It's always good to see Charlotte. Charlotte's awesome. She's all over there in England here. It's always good to see Charlotte here. like what was the mic issue? Remember you had the mic issue with you were on with Charles, and you were having your microphone issues. All right, let's see here. Thank you, Dee Dee, for that. Let's keep playing it. This house just doesn't belong here, right? Like this house is it's like the Ajax commercial, right? Like, oh, this guy's an architect. Look at this.
Costello's roommate played a key role
I laugh every time I see that house.
in helping identify a suspect in these disappearances. He described one of Costello's clients as having an ogre-like appearance and driving a Chevy Avalanche, which became critical in the investigation to come.
Amber Lynn's disappearance becomes crucial to the investigation. And
I just worry about you when I don't see you for a while, Charlotte. So Charlotte was one of my first people here. She's an amazing person. She's just busy. She's got a lot of shit she does. But it's always good to see her here. It's always good to see everybody here.
we're going to get to that later.
Maureen Brainard Barnes, Melissa Barthélemy, Megan Waterman, and
these poor kids, they weren't didn't deserve this, that's for sure.
Amber Costello are known as the Gilgo Four.
Those women were the Gilgo Four, and this is where their remains were found. Along Ocean Parkway in Gilgo Beach.
See, this area here is so beautiful. Like, if you go here, of course, you're probably going to have to know somebody on some of these beaches here, but these beaches, just because this is New York here, these beaches are absolutely gorgeous. But at night, if you're here at night, it's freaking dark. You can't see anything at all. These beaches here, I don't know whether it's the water, the reflection of the water to the sky or whatever, but there's no lights here. It's freaking dark. So if you're going to dump bodies, this is the place to do it.
By May 2011, police had discovered 6 more sets of remains in the same area, bringing the total up to 10.
After the Gilgo Four, 6 more bodies were discovered in the area. The Manorville 2, which was Valerie Mack and Jessica Taylor. Then there was...
Are you okay, Diana? It's good to see Mustang here too. Zaddy, get some blue light blockers, either glasses or cover for the screens.
Was a woman named Peaches and her toddler daughter, and then Asian Doe, which was known to be a biological male, but a cross-dresser. And then finally, Karen Vagata, who was 34 and also known as Fire Island Jane Doe. Since part of her remains were in Fire Island.
They gave her the name Peaches because the, I forget who it was, the original commissioner that was charged with the case didn't just want to give her the proverbial old Jane Doe 2 or Jane Doe 3, so they when they found her tattoo there, they called her Peaches instead of
and part of them were found on Ocean Parkway.
Since the taping of this interview, the victim known as Peaches was identified by authorities as 26-year-old Army veteran Tanya Denise Jackson. Her 2-year-old daughter was identified as Titania Mary Dykes, born in Texas on March 17, 1995.
No, but I've been there. I've been all over that place, actually. I used to know people down there in New York. But it's dark there. It's very, very dark. It's dark everywhere, but down there, if you're going to dump bodies, that's the place to do it. Also, the thing is down there is, you have ocean storms all the time down there. So I'm wondering if some of the, especially like Hurricane Sandy that came in there, I wonder if some of those surge waves kind of move some of those bodies around a little bit because they got hit. That was Hurricane Sandy was pretty bad.
Forensic artists created renderings of the victim referred to as Asian Doe, seen here. They were biologically male and found wearing women's clothing. It is possible they identified as female. At the time of this recording, their identity is still unknown.
The fact that there were 10 bodies/remains found in one area along Ocean Parkway in Suffolk County makes me feel like they're linked to the same person. How could it not be?
Let me on a second here. So this was Hurricane Sandy. I mean, this whole place was. Some places I think had like 12-foot wave surge heights. I mean, that's pretty bad. I mean, this damaged New York, New Jersey, and Long Island. This is oh, what did I do that for? I mean, this place was devastated here. So just wanted to bring that up. All right, let's get back to this here. I'll play a few more minutes of this here, then we'll move on to something else here.
Many of the victims that were found were bound either with a belt or tape, and they were also wrapped in burlap. Now,
this whole belt thing is weird. To me, this whole belt thing has always been really, really weird. Let me see if I can back this up just a tiny bit here.
Feel like they're linked to the same person. How could it not be? Many of the victims that were found were bound either with a belt or tape.
I just think this is just weird. I've always thought this was strange. It might not have anything to do with this, but these letters here, but.
And they were also wrapped in burlap. Now, the burlap is supposed to blend in with the natural vegetation that was surrounding the area, so they would not be seen.
About 6 months later, in December 2011,
Myrtle Beach is my favorite beach, other than, wait a minute, I shouldn't say that. Okay, so Naples, Florida. Naples, Florida is Vanderbilt Beach is probably one of my favorite beaches ever. But Myrtle Beach or Surfside is a close second for sure. But I do love Myrtle Beach. We go there every year usually. Sandy was bad. Sandy was see, down in Florida can withstand, like a category 3, category 4 storm because of the tree heights. I mean, other than maybe like around the northern middle of Florida, tree heights and palm trees down here, I mean, they're just tiny little trees. Up here, New York, New England, I mean, we have tall pines that 30-40 mile an hour wind could be devastating. So you get like a category 1 or category 2. I mean, you'll never see a category 4 or 5 up here. But even a category 2 up here, the damage from a category 2 would be amazing.
Shannon's body was found. A year and a half after she went missing, the 11th woman discovered along Ocean Parkway.
18 months after Shannon Gilbert disappeared, her body was located in Oak Beach, right here. Here are the 11 victims that were found. Rex Heuermann has only been linked to 7.
Perfect example is the Hurricane Helene, right? It didn't do much damage at all. I mean, it did some damage, but once it got up into, Western North Carolina last year, Eastern Tennessee, it's once you start water running downhill, it's really hard to freaking stop it. And I knew that storm, if it got into the Carolinas, there was going to be bad, especially Western Carolina.
So far. So we are looking at the area where Rex lived and raised his family, and Midtown, where Rex's office was located. Then we are looking at South Carolina, where Rex apparently had some property and where he hoped to retire to one day. And we're also looking at a larger map of the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Long Island, Yonkers. Let's take a look at the investigation.
Amber Costello's roommate was key in identifying a suspect in the case. His description of an ogre-like man driving a Chevy Avalanche was a major breakthrough.
The night that Amber Lynn...
All right, I'm going to get out of that because it's bothering me. That whole case should have been solved like 10 years ago, 13 years ago. Just they had so much corruption over there. It was just they had all the information. They had all the information about this guy right afterwards, and they just New York. What are you going to do? Yeah, Rex is. Hold on a second. Let me do this here. Hold on a second. Yeah, I would not be surprised if he's responsible for some of the there was a SKR up here called the I was it the I-95 unaliver down in New Bedford, Massachusetts, and that's I would not be surprised if he's responsible for some of those too, because it was right around the same time. And they were all kind of like the same MO, same kind of victim. In fact, a couple of them were actually wrapped. So I would not be surprised if he's responsible for a couple of those. All right. Anyways, this is kind of a cold case file here I want to go over. I wanted to do this last week, but I didn't. So Arizona crime uncovered. It's a Memorial Day weekend mystery. What happened to Diana Shawcroft and Jennifer Luth? 2 19-year-olds were reported missing from Glendale, Arizona in 1996 of May during a holiday weekend, but 30 years later, there's no answers. So we'll play this here. This is coming out of Arizona. So here we go.
A Memorial Day weekend mystery. What happened to Diana Shawcroft and Jennifer Luth? The 2 teens reported missing from Glendale in May 1996.
The search is on tonight for 2 missing Glendale women.
They have no money, they have no food, they have no clothes.
This is the last place the 2 19-year-olds were seen back on May 24th, the night they got into an old blue truck with a man and disappeared without a trace.
We have some remains that were obviously found up in Yavapai County.
We know somebody did this. There needs to be some justice somehow for what happened to them.
Their remains ultimately found in Yavapai County months later, but nearly 30 years have passed and there are still no answers. What happened that night? It's a question the Attorney General's new cold case unit is hoping to help answer. We sat down with multiple agencies and Diana's sister, who was one of the last people to see the girls alive.
And we haven't really talked about it in a long time like that. So I can't believe I'm still talking.
Miss Barbara's here? Where's Miss Barbara? Hey, Miss Barbara, how are you? Good to see you. Oh, that's right. Sorry. Thank you very much, Barbara. Happy Father's Day to everybody. I've got a few wood stoves and yes, cabin life in the woods. It's just good not to be in the mountains. It's good just not in the mountains, but I love the mountains. At this point in my life, I just want to be everywhere where people aren't. Happy Father's Day to everybody. Happy Father's Day to people who have to play father and mother. Happy Father's Day to everybody.
But it's time. She deserves some justice.
This is such a sad case. This is so horrible. I might go into a deep dive next week on this case here. And Chuck, you can help if you want with this one here. This has been going on for like 30 years here. So
Or we all do, really. And anybody else that may be hurt by whoever did it.
Tina Frigo lives here in the Valley. Processing what happened nearly 30 years ago to her sister has been a decades-long journey.
She was such a sweet soul. Probably one of the kindest souls you'd ever know. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Just was good to everyone.
So I think that's
honest, loving, caring, loved her family. Didn't have a mean bone in her body. Everybody called her Diana through everything, but us family members, we called her Dee Dee.
In 1996, Diana Shawcroft had recently moved to the Valley from Loveland, Colorado, at first staying with her brother before begging to move in with Tina. At 19 years old, what was she doing? What were her plans?
Well, her best friend came to visit, so their plans were to have a good time and hang out. And I was the big mean sister that was like, get a job. I can't do this for in a one-bedroom apartment. I love you guys, but, come on. So, but they were into having, fun and going out and meeting people. And Diana, or Dee Dee, did have a job at Burger King.
Diana's best friend was Jennifer Luth, both 19 years old.
Yeah, they'd gone to school together. I think they met in grade school, like when they were like 5 or 6. So too long. But she was supposed to come and visit and then just never left. Decided to stay.
The apartment was near 59th.
Are you okay, Miss Barb? Sorry you're not feeling well. We love having Miss Barb here. Miss Barb's awesome. She got a great channel too, Timmy's Legacy. I hope you feel better. We love Miss Barbara here. Miss Barbara's awesome.
In Camelback, Tina says when it came to safety, she worried about the girls.
And I kept telling them, you guys, you're not in Loveland anymore. You got to be really careful here, because Loveland was a lot smaller. Not everybody at the time. And I'm like, it's really different here. You got to really be careful. I had been here, quite a few years. I went to high school, and I, like Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore. I kept saying, you're not in Loveland anymore.
When you go back to that night, 1996, I know it's decades ago at this point, almost 30 years. What do you remember?
That was probably when I'm thinking back, it was a terrible night for me because of the way it all ended. But I'd actually gone house shopping that day, and I had gotten home kind of late. I was exhausted. It was hot. I had actually put an offer on a house, and
we all know what the cameraman's looking at, right? Like, this is an interview with this lady here, and the cameraman is just like constantly looking at the reporter. Like
was completely grumpy and tired when I got home. And Jenny and Diana and Dee Dee just wanted to go do something. Were begging me to take them and let's go hang out, give us a ride to the store. And I'm like, you guys, I'm tired. No, I had said no. And the very last thing Dee Dee said to me was, I can still see her face and her head around the doors. Tina, please come with us. And I said no.
The girls walking down the road just a few blocks to a mini mart near Diana's work. But this is when the mystery begins.
Right? Like, this is an interview with her, not the reporter, right? Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Oh.
Two teens never came home.
I don't even think they sell those things anymore, right? Most of them. What are those? Those are
home. You had no idea when you woke up the next day that anything really had happened.
I mean, should I have? No, but was I absolutely terrified when I woke up and they weren't home? Yes, because it was so out of character. So I started calling hospitals, and
I've been mom and dad to both my girls and teach them, and will teach the baby how to do things like I do. Yep, that's good. That's right. Oh, that's why I'm not a cameraman either. Actually, they call him something different now. As long as you treat your children good, I don't, it's whatever. Mother, father, doesn't matter.
Well, mainly hospitals, and I did call the police almost that morning within a couple hours, just because that gut feeling and that I just knew something was really wrong. But since they were adults, they
I have 2 girls and a son. So I've done this. But like Peggy O's here. Good to see Peggy O. Hi, Peggy O. Good to see you. It's pretty easy for me to be a parent because I just give my kids everything they want. As long as they're not bugging me, I'm good.
had to wait a certain amount of time and that sort of thing. A lot of it was a blur. I finally reached out to my dad and had my dad come over, and things just kind of started to go from there. I was terrified to reach out to Jenny's parents because I didn't want to alarm them for nothing. So I don't remember the exact amount of days now, but it did take me a handful of days before I even let them know, which was...
Just to let you guys know, there's a lot of good channels in the chat here. We got You News Addie's in here. He's got a great channel. Dirty Diana's somewhere in the channel. She's got a great channel. Miss Barbara's in here too. She's got a great channel. Paula Fitzhenry's in here. Great channel. I know that Doodlebug was in here a little while ago. Southern Gal, I think, is still here, although I haven't seen it for a while. Southern Gal was amazing. So feel free to throw your channels in the chat so we can get you guys some more whatever. You guys are all awesome.
Horrible for them, afterwards, but I didn't know.
What was going through her head? Was there hope that maybe they were 2 19-year-olds just, maybe still off, kind of seeing where the wind takes them?
Honestly, from what some of us, yeah. My mom was in California. She came within days, though. I don't exactly remember the perfect timeline. She definitely was full of hope. Jenny's parents drove out and were very full of hope.
Thank you, Heather. It's always good to see Heather. Doing videos of my experiences someday soon if it all goes well. Thank you. Yep. Anytime I can help out fellow creators, other creators, I have no problem with promoting good channels. Even bad ones, I could care less. But if you guys have channels, please throw them in the chat, get you some more exposure. I know some people don't want that. That's fine too. But get the word out.
For some reason, I just had that feeling that this is not okay. And I think my dad felt more on that way too. And it was Memorial Weekend, and we were hoping maybe, there was a little bit of hope.
If you were a police officer, would you think somebody ran away with unpaid checks or uncashed checks?
From their own home?
Driver's license, credit cards, no clothes, no makeup.
They have no money, they have no food, they have no clothes. They're in short shorts and tank tops. Both families.
You got that same sofa. It's so weird. That same pattern and everything. That is bizarre.
They're in short shorts and tank tops.
Both families spoke with ABC 15 as they searched for the girls. In the first few days and weeks, a few important clues emerged.
This is the last place the 2 19-year-olds were seen back on May 24th, the night they got into an old blue truck.
Peggy O's got a channel too. I didn't know that. So quickly remind me to subscribe. I'm pretty sure I subscribed to Peggy O though. Have I? And who else? I know somebody else was in Jingles. That's right. Yes, we're waiting patiently for these videos for sure. That's an old truck right there, man. All right, so what does this say? This says below is a composite sketch of the guy last seen talking to Diana Shawcroft and Jennifer Luth outside the mini mart. He was driving a blue pickup truck like the one depicted in the sketch below. So 1996. That doesn't look like a 1996. but it's probably an older model.
Truck with a man and disappeared without a trace.
Stay tough, honey. Stay tough.
I'm not gonna find nothing.
I mean, this is Arizona. There's probably thousands of trucks that look like that.
In 1996, Diana Shawcroft and Jennifer Luth's families desperately searching for the girls. Police only had a few small leads from people that were near this Glendale mini mart where the girls were last spotted.
Somebody at the mini mart thought they overheard the two women talking about going to.
Charlotte, are you leaving? If you're leaving, Charlotte, have a good day. I hope, Charlotte, you have a great week. I've got to go chase the girls. Fondest love, all. All right. Charlotte's awesome. Thank you. 1986. Yeah, that looked more like a later 80s Chevy when they actually made really good vehicles.
To a party somewhere in this area.
The biggest clues coming from witnesses, including a 14-year-old Robert Cruz. He had been sitting nearby with friends
Right?
on that
What
May
year was this?
evening in
This was 1996. Keys sounds good here. Did that look like Keys though?
With his help, police now have.
Does that look like Keys to you? Hold on a second. I just looked him up for another crime. Hold on a second here. Hold on a second. Let me remember that image. Remember that image. I mean, this picture kind of looks it's possible. It's possible, right? I mean, that picture looks pretty close right there. Right? Right there. That could be close, right? All right, let's get back to this here. It's not impossible for sure. I mean, that looks pretty good. Let's go back to, hold on a second. Remember that face. That's possible. Definitely not a Delphi thing.
Have this sketch of a man seen leaving the store with 19-year-olds Diana Shawcroft and Jenny Luth.
Next thing I know,
When they, what was that, the 2000, was that the 2019, 2019 press conference there? The infamous 2019 press conference with the Delphi case. When they came out with the younger guy's sketch, I mean, that was comical. Oh my God, it was so, these people. If I was there, I would have stood up and said, "You guys are clueless, man. You have no clue whatsoever."
they got up and both went into the car.
Police are not calling this man that Robert saw.
I think somebody actually stood up and said something after that. They're like, "We've been looking for this guy for 2 years, and now you want us to look for this guy."
A suspect, but Diana's father says this sketch so far.
I should do that. I should play one of these weeks. I should play the infamous 2019 press conference and just go through it and just laugh your freaking ass off. Right? This is
is the best lead they have.
Even though he's 14 years old, it's amazing the perception of somebody that age if they're interested.
But it would be months until the girls were found. It was a heartbreaking discovery outside.
Is that who said that? I think it was. You might be right. I think it was Becky Patty that said that. Looking for this guy for 2 years, and now we're gonna take down. We're gonna take down all these. That's so funny. I would have dropped. I would have fell to the floor. Jingles, good night. If you're taking off, have a good night. Hope you have a great week, Jingles. I got to remind me, Jingles. Hold on a second. I got to remind myself, Jingles, subscribe. Okay, thank you.
Maricopa County.
We have some remains that were obviously found up in Yavapai County, and we're still conducting our examination for identification and for determination of cause as best we can, and that process is still underway.
Hunters finding the teens' remains in a remote location. When you think about that and where they were found so far away from Glendale, what was going through your head?
I mean, 19, was it 19? So, I mean, this is coming from AI. This is a span of crimes, 1996 through 2012, right? So it's definitely in, that's for Israel Keys. I don't think it's him, but it could be somebody like that. I don't know.
Everything. You know, you start thinking about any type of scenario, good to bad, to horrid to horrific, which obviously was horrific. My brain went to a lot of hopefulness of maybe it was just an accident that went wrong and people got scared and didn't know what to do. And that's what I still hope it is to this day. It helps me have a little bit of peace with it. I hope and pray it wasn't just some horrific act. But yeah, you pretty much go through every scenario.
With the two girls found, this was no longer a missing persons case.
Things were a lot more aggressive on my end.
Oh, what am I doing? Hold on a second.
Since I was the last person to see them. So not only was I dealing with the grief, I was dealing with the person of interest, is I think what they call it now.
Yeah. What was that like?
Oh, sheer hell. Yeah, that was really, really hard. Because I was, like I said, I was there on a daily basis, interviewed for hours over and over and over again. I remember finally saying, just arrest me. Do you want me to say I did it? I'm like, what do you want me to do here? I'm like, quit spending your time with me. Like, let's find out who really did this. But so after about 3 months, I did say no more. I couldn't take it anymore.
But Tina did visit the site where the girls were found in December of 1996 with other family together, making a small memorial.
There's a sense of peace.
Ditto. I'm pretty sure the cameraman is in love with her. I mean, that's just my opinion. Hold on a second.
Peace here for me. I think about the girls and their spirits.
ABC 15 was also there.
Whoever committed this crime went through a lot of trouble. The area is incredibly remote and rocky.
That we know somebody knows, and we know somebody did this, and we wait for that day to find you.
In the years following, Tina's family continued to share the teen's story and push for justice.
Diana's in a better place. I think all of us accept that. You know, it isn't about doing anything to help her at this point. But there's still a lot of questions that need answered, and it may help for my family.
Tina and Diana's dad, Roger, even trying to help other families with missing kids, like 11-year-old Mikkel Biggs, who disappeared outside her Mesa home in January 1999.
This car salesman is also a grieving father, who more than 2 years ago felt the same pain that Darren and Tracy Biggs are now living.
Just bring her back, please. You know, that's our little girl. We love her.
It's an unsolved murder at this point.
Shawcroft is still searching for his daughter's killer, but he's also making time to help find Mikkel and be there for her parents.
Both are now two major cold cases here in the Valley. But years after Diana and Jennifer were found,
It's just a problem when you have unalivings like this here. especially in Arizona, out west like that. Those bodies could be anywhere.
Another twist in the case. Tina says the memorial they created was tampered with.
There was a picture frame, a picture of Diana, Dee Dee, and Jenny, and the pictures were gone. So they truly believe whoever did it went back.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's how they get caught as well.
As an older sister, Tina carried guilt for a long time. Eventually, she was able to go back and work further with detectives.
It was just hard for me to be asked those hard questions, at the time. And once I realized that, once I had a break and can breathe, it made it a lot easier to go back and talk.
Do you now have any kind of theory? Do you think the person in the pickup truck is the person that could have done this?
I have no idea. I don't know. And I have no idea who that could even be. I know that detectives over the years have had a few ideas, and
it's going to be somebody that you would never expect. Put it that way.
Just from combing through people I knew and things like that, and then none of it just ever made sense.
Both Shawcroft parents passed away, never knowing what truly happened to Diana.
Oh, that sucks.
My mom actually passed a year later in the same month. Heart failure is what's on the death certificate, but we all think, it just killed her. Just couldn't do it.
I know you mentioned your dad passed away and you kind of were having those conversations with him. Do you think that, at the end, that was something he thought about?
I better breathe. I'm going to fall off the chair. We kind of knew, he was going downhill. So anyway, we said goodbye to each other, and all he could talk about was having closure when he saw her again in heaven.
This sucks so bad. All right, so let's get out of this one here. I'll keep an eye. This one came up in my feed last week. This was done 3 days ago. I want to switch into the Lawrence Spira case out of Indiana here. So let's get out of this here. Hold on a second. Let me go and then into this here. I know you guys probably don't watch a lot of
I'm Marnie Hughes, and this
what the hell is his name now? Frost. He did he did a lot on the Lawrence Spira case. Tommy Frost, that's his name. But I just wanted to go over this because this came out a day ago, and this is part of the missing that the News Nation does every week. Marnie Hughes, and this was done, I said, a day ago. This is the investigation into the disappearance of Indiana University student Lawrence Spira, 14-year-olds. I've done a couple of lives on her too. Lawrence family, who have been mostly quiet over the years, are speaking out in a rare post online. Lauren's mom says not knowing is unbearable, adding that what you don't know can devastate you. 14 years since her daughter vanished. And this is the latest on that here. So it's good that they're getting some word out on this. Supposedly there was supposed to be some information coming out on this here. But that, I don't think that ever materialized. So here's this.
is missing. Thank you, as always, for joining us. Each week, we cover a missing person case that is not getting much attention. Every missing person matters, no matter their race, their background, their circumstances. By highlighting each and every case and sharing these stories, we believe that these cases are solvable. And together, we can bring answers to the family and friends of the missing. Sadly, the body of a Navy sailor has been discovered in a wooded area in Norfolk, Virginia. Culinary specialist seaman Angelina Resendez was reported missing
This is so freaking sad here, this one here.
on May 29th. She was last seen at her barracks at Naval Station Norfolk around 10 o'clock in the morning. Her mom knew instantly that something was wrong when she had not heard from her. Investigators say a Navy sailor has been placed in pretrial confinement in connection to Angelina's death. Charges are pending, which is likely why a name has not been released yet in this case. No word yet on how she died or the relationship with the sailor in custody. Angelina's mom describes her as kind and welcoming. We're so sorry for that sad news. The mother of Lauren Spear is speaking out in a rare post online. Lauren's family has been mostly quiet for years since her disappearance in 2011. This family is heartbroken, and at times they've been very frustrated with the investigation into Lauren's case. Lauren, a student at Indiana University in Bloomington.
Do you guys know about this case? Anybody know about this case? This is another one of these Indiana cases here. I think, was it Purdue? Was it Indiana U? I forget the college. She disappeared from that apartment building, and no one's ever seen her since. I know everybody wants to blame one of the guys that were there, but just wanted to know if you guys have heard about this. Yeah, it's IU, Indiana University. Right.
Never returned home after a night out with friends. This month marks 14 years since she vanished. Lauren's mom says the not knowing is unbearable. Charlene Spear says that what you don't know can devastate you, adding that she hopes with all her heart that comes to an end soon and she can give Lauren the peace she deserves. We have covered Lauren's disappearance several times in our missing series, including a new book released last year detailing the mystery in this case and the theories. I've
always said if you're planning on unaliving or getting unalived in Indiana, just drag your dead body to or dying body to Illinois or somewhere else. Like it's pretty rare that anybody's going to get anything done in Indiana. It's just my opinion.
A closer look at the investigation.
We just want to thank all of our friends and family.
I can hear her voice. And she's just such a loving girl.
It's been more than a dozen years since Charlene Spearer heard her daughter Lauren's voice.
We almost don't want to remember the good things because it's paralyzing.
So paralyzing.
One of these days, I'm going to go through my videos and try to sort them out and put names on them and stuff. But I know I've done at least two on the Lauren Spearer case for sure. I think it was last year.
That Lauren's parents have stopped doing interviews. Instead, we spoke to their private investigator, Mike Ciravolo.
There we go. That's much better.
The former NYPD detective led the Zodiac Killer Task Force in the 90s and is the senior investigator at his firm, Bo Dietl and Associates.
And I saw it on every news channel, every cable news, network news. It was all over the internet.
The disappearance of IU student Lauren Spear.
Family of Lauren Spear.
Lauren Spear. Lauren Spear.
Lauren Spear disappeared after a long night out with friends on June 3rd, 2011.
I mean, my first thought was like any of my friends.
That night, Lauren texts her boyfriend, Jesse Wolf, that she plans to go to bed, but she doesn't. Lauren then goes out to Kilroy's sports bar with friends using a fake ID. Witnesses say Lauren left visibly intoxicated and forgot her shoes and phone. With her is Corey Rossman. He's seen on unreleased surveillance video walking with Lauren back to her apartment building. When they got to the building, Corey is confronted by some other boys who know Lauren.
They saw she wasn't in the best.
Can you blame them? All right, hold on a second. I want to back up 2 seconds here. Okay, so yeah, this is the sports bar here. We've been down these roads. We took a drive, remember, around here.
When they got to the building, Corey is confronted by some
Yeah, that's the apartments, right?
other boys who know Lauren.
They saw she wasn't in the best shape to travel, and they were trying to do the right thing. They suggested to Corey, hey, she's in bad shape. Why don't you just make sure she gets back to her room down the hall?
Corey resists them and wants.
What's up, Charlie Manson? I think that's fucking hilarious. Is this where mom locked daughter out of the house? I don't know. I don't think so. Charlie Manson, that's That's freaking classic. That's awesome.
One of the boys hits Corey in the face. They return to Corey's apartment. His roommate tells police Corey and Lauren were both drunk, and a neighbor tries to convince Lauren to.
I don't think I've heard of this one. Jill Berman case 2000 was another IU student found 3 years after disappearance during bike ride. Bicycle found after 3. I don't think I've ever heard that. See if Snay was slow. I like Rick Snay. Rick Snay's cool. I don't think I've heard of this one. But there's a lot of cases I don't know about. What the hell's going on here? But I'll tell you one thing. If you need to know anything about a case, just ask Tracy Fleetwood. Apparently I got unblocked. You got unblocked here or where? I'm blocked. I'm always blocked. You've heard about baby Amaya case, the baby that went missing not long after Libby and Abby. I covered it too. So you got a channel too? How come I'm not subscribed to your channel? Can't block a mod, right? No, I don't think so. Trivia Tracy. Yes, she's awesome. I have not heard of that one. And why am I not subscribed to you? I probably am.
Stay, but she ultimately leaves their apartment barefoot with no phone. And that's the last time Lauren Spearer was ever seen.
Okay, so no girl ever leaves anywhere without their phone. It doesn't happen willingly. That just doesn't happen.
The next day, Lauren's boyfriend reports her missing when no one can get in touch with her. But after that, Ciravolo says Jesse and the boys Lauren was with that night have been uncooperative.
After Jesse reported her missing later that afternoon, Jesse was like, she's dead. I know she's dead. Well, how do you know she's dead? So that's Jesse Wolf.
Multiple news reports show Jesse helped look for Lauren in the initial days of her disappearance, but then quickly left town. He also passed a.
You would literally have to pry a phone out of somebody's dead. I mean, women, girls, if they don't take the phone, they're probably not alive. It's just, that's the way it is. It just doesn't happen.
A privately administered lie detector test and declined one from police. Ciravolo says he's talked to all the boys who were with Lauren that night, except for Corey Rossman.
They may lose their phone, but they're not gonna leave anywhere without it. Because the phone isn't just a phone anymore these days. It's everybody's information is on there. I mean, you can't do anything without a phone.
He called the police on Ciravolo and his team when they went to question him at his apartment.
Corey Rossman has not been cooperative with us from day one.
He wasn't cooperative with News Nation either. After multiple attempts to reach him and the other boys,
Okay, sorry, I'm just listening to that scanner again. Like I said, I got the scanner on right around the area where that supposed fugitive is that unalived his 3 daughters. So I got the scanner on, so I'm trying to listen to that at the same time.
our messages weren't returned. The only response came from Mike Beth. Via phone, he told us he had nothing to add. Ciravolo was critical of the initial police investigation, and so was the community. In a report from our News Nation station in Indianapolis, some neighbors say they hadn't seen police or been questioned by them for 10 days, even though police records indicate they spoke to nearby residents the day after Lauren's disappearance.
Has anybody ever come to ask you, hey, guys, did you guys notice anything weird on the morning of June 3rd?
All right, well, if you get a channel, let me know. Yeah, I mean, guys will probably leave their phone behind. Like I've done that before. But I'm not trying to be gender whatever, but I'm just saying it's usually going to throw a red flag or whatever you want to call it in the air If some girl goes missing and she doesn't bring her phone, it's probably not good.
Not recently. They just started walking around right now, coming up and down the street, but they haven't the date.
Do you think it's weird that the cops haven't asked you in 10 days if you've seen anything?
I think it is just because we live so close to where she went missing.
I think it's a little late. I feel like they were going to do that. They would have done it, the day after, 2 days after.
We asked for an interview. Bloomington police say it's been their policy not to.
I don't know. That's a good question, though. I know. I thought, good thing I didn't go over there and subscribe too. I know there's another. It seems like there's another truth seeker out there. That's why I guess I've said that. I don't know if she had insurance cards either. Okay.
To do interviews. In a statement, they said the investigation remains very active and
Bullshit. Where have we heard that before?
Last 3 to 4 years, investigators have received over 800 tips and executed at least 10 search warrants. As for Ciravolo, he believes there are 3 things that could have happened to Lauren. An opportunist took her. Her boyfriend did something out of jealousy, or
Lauren, who had a bad heart and may have been overserved that night, could have passed. Her heart could have given out.
See, that to me, that was a I hate saying the red flag thing, but it could have been. This could have been like a bad accident or something where she might have been overserved or something to that effect, and something like that, because she had heart issues. Not saying that's what happened, but it's possible something like that happened and they didn't want to. I don't know. They didn't want to go to the cops or something. But that sounds a little bit far-fetched too to me. But it's possible.
While she was in their apartment, in Rosenbaum's apartment, and that they concealed her body.
Lauren had a heart condition called long QT syndrome. She was also just 4'11", weighing 95 pounds.
Anything. She'll be starting it as soon as Shibby gets his assless chaps back from Dino. I don't think that's going to happen. It's going to be a little bit about everything. I will be talking Delphi from time to time. I got a channel, Dave, but it's just music on it right now. That's fine. I like music. That's classic. You guys are classic. 4 feet 11 inches, 95 pounds. That's tiny. She's, definitely petite.
It leads one to believe.
I've looked into that. That's right. That the long QT syndrome. Let me play this and I'll look into it.
That perhaps they acted in concert in some way, shape, or form and perpetrated a criminal act.
However,
Okay, so where's Jocelyn when I need her? Thank you, Mustang. Mustang's awesome too. We love Mustang. Hold on. Okay, so I'm just going to read this. I'm not going to share this. It's a long QT syndrome is a heart rhythm disorder that can potentially lead to fast, erratic heartbeats, fainting, seizures, or even sudden cardiac arrest. So it's not good. It's characterized by a prolonged QT interval or an electrocardiogram indicating that the heart's lower chambers or ventricles take longer than normal to recharge between beats. LQTS can be inherited or congenital or acquired through various factors like medication or medicines. So are you supposed to drink? I think I've asked that before. Symptoms: palpitations, fluttering or racing heart, fainting or near fainting, seizures, sudden cardiac arrest in rare cases. Some individuals with LQTS may not experience any symptoms. Hold on a second. Bad with alcohol. Let me see. 2 seconds. Yes, alcohol consumption can be dangerous for individuals with long QT syndrome. Alcohol can prolong the QT interval, a measure of the heart's electrical activity, making the heart more susceptible to dangerous and potentially fatal irregular heartbeat rhythms. A prolonged QT interval increases the risk of the arrhythmia. So that doesn't say, I don't know. I'm not getting a good answer of whether or not that's, in summary, while moderate alcohol consumption might not always trigger bad, it can also be risky for those with LQTS or other heart conditions. But I mean, she's in college, right? So she's probably drank before. I mean, I don't know if that's, I don't know.
The boys and their parents have maintained they did nothing wrong and are cooperating with police.
Because someone may see something, see this interview, and pick up a phone, and they have real solid information, or maybe finally have a conscience and come forward with that information.
The book College Girl Missing, the true story of how a young woman.
Is it really? Is alcohol bad for everything? Dino and Sweet Shibby will be me and Heather's side hosts and entertainment for us too. Is alcohol really bad for everything? I don't drink anymore, but that is weird. Tiny Hebby. What did he say? I knew a tiny pro wrestler named the Garden Gnome from I tell you, did Dino leave? Dino in his phone thing again? Whoops.
Woman disappeared in plain sight came out in 2024, and the author is Sean Cohen, a reporter who worked with Lauren's family and also a private investigator. The book includes on-the-record statements from Corey Rossman and Jay Rosenbaum, among the last people who are believed to have seen Lauren alive.
He looks good in purple.
And Sean is with us now to talk more about the case and where things stand. Sean, welcome back and thank you.
I don't know if I like that sweater, but she looks good in purple. And she got a haircut.
Thank you for your time. Lauren's mom posted this month 14 years since she was last seen. What prompted her to speak out? Because I know the family has rarely done so. And have you spoken with the family?
Well, the family on the anniversary has issued some kind of message, basically to show that they're still very much stuck in that night when Lauren disappeared, and that they're.
Yeah, I just drink coffee now. Coffee is the alcohol of choice at this point. Dee Dee, yes, and I have a few cousins that are like 6'7". Wow. I don't notice people in purple very often. Purple is your favorite color, yeah. Purple depends. I'm only 5'3". Yeah. Yeah, if you're, I've known people that are short that can wreck a house, man. I'm telling you. I knew an electrician named Minnie. He was maybe 5'4", but if you shook his hand, he'd break your hand off. I'm only 5. Okay. All right, let's go back to this here. Sorry.
Absolutely wanting people to still come forward with anything that they've seen or heard. So at this point, 14 years later, they again put out a message, and it's a very uncomfortable situation for them to, speak out in public. That's not their nature, but they're absolutely needing to do that.
Right. It's painful. So many of the missing cases we cover, police say this is an active investigation. In Lauren's case, it's been 14 years. Do you think that's an accurate description of the case status?
At this point, the police haven't said anything substantive for many years. So what they're doing is saying that they continue to get tips and that it's an active investigation. But as far as hard evidence, physical evidence, they've collected what they were going to collect in the early days of the investigation. So at this point, it comes down to will one of the people who is involved in her disappearance speak up, or someone in one of their circles who they've maybe shared some information. So it's all down to eyewitnesses at this point and people who've spoken with the individuals.
And you, Sean, have spoken with some of the young men who were the last to see Lauren before she disappeared. What stands out to you from those conversations then and even now, now that some time has passed?
For the book, I went through all the private investigative files, and you could you could see where there are follow-up questions needed. So I went at talking to a whole bunch of witnesses who really hadn't given a thorough accounting of their interactions with Lauren and the individuals who were with her that night. So toward the end of my reporting, I reapproached the boys who were last known to be with her in that townhouse complex where she ended up. And they were very much paying attention to the fact that, a lot of other people were speaking, so that they actually got on and spoke with me. That would be Corey Rossman, who took her out that night and, had to carry her up the street to the townhouse complex where she ended up. And also that would be Jason Rosenbaum, who was 2 doors down from Corey's, and he's the one who says that she walked out of his apartment shortly after 4 a.m. So at this point, they're having selective memories, or I asked them a lot of questions about the contradictions in their statements and stories and how they evolved over time, and they didn't really give thorough answers at this point.
For Lauren's family, they have lost a lot of trust. I know they had been frustrated with the investigation early on. What led them to that place? What missteps, in your mind, as you look closer at the case, happened in those first days and weeks?
Early on, they treated it as well. First of all, the incident was reported. The missing case was reported to police about 16 hours after she actually went missing. At that night, they went out and began, a cursory search, and became active after that. Piecing together what actually happened and where she ended up, where she was known to end up, and got some stories. But the boys who were with her, hired lawyers. And a couple of them left town. There were, as far as one theory in the case, is that perhaps if she did die in that townhouse complex, that they would have disposed of her body, or one of them would have. And so that would have, in immediate action, they could have, seized the cars, or stopped, say, the transfer of dumpsters, and searched various sites much more aggressively early on. But a lot of those opportunities kind of came and went, and then days later, they were facing a situation where they had some uncooperative people.
In your investigation, Sean, were there any warning signs, any red flags? Had Lauren said anything to anyone that she was in fear of her safety, or that there were any concerns before the last night she was seen?
No. And what I was able to piece together is that, she had some issues, obviously, with drinking and drugs, and she'd had incidents at night where she'd end up basically in a very compromised spot and unfocused, and and someone would, usually her boyfriend would get the call and bring her back to her place. As far as that particular night, she ended up going up the street and meeting up with a guy named Corey Rossman, and she just met him a few days earlier. So I don't think many people in her inner circle had really sized up the situation, and the summer classes, it was kind of like in between terms and a little bit quiet. So some of her closest friends had gone home already. So here she was on a night with people that she really didn't know very well.
Tell me about your personal connection to this case, why you decided to write the book, and what's the relationship you have with Lauren's family over the course of these years?
So I was, I think I was the first reporter to get a story up about her disappearance. One of her friends had called the paper where I was at, and we put a story up, and within a day or two, I was in Indiana, and it became a very big story. And I was, while a lot of people were reporting on the search, I was digging around trying to find people who were with her that night, and learned some things about Lauren's actions and interactions that night, and put out some of the fact that she was taking certain drugs, and she went out with a guy who wasn't her boyfriend. And
isn't Heather just amazing? Everybody vanishes on a night out. Don't meet people at clubs and bars is my advice. Yeah. It's strange how people don't get unalived more though, right? Like bars. That's why I'd like to get going on this long haul trucker thing here with Charlie Manson. Drunk people are drunk people, right? They just usually forget about it after the next day. But there isn't usually, I don't think there's usually a lot of unaliving that happens, right? It's just a lot of drunk people. And this case here is a little weird because I don't know. I mean, why would they? I don't know. She could have left and gotten, attacked too by somebody else, somebody completely different. I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
The family was very upset with me at that point. So it was a pretty hostile relationship. But over time, they, when they ended up moving on from Bloomington and hiring the private investigators, they kind of, we grew closer.
Yeah, whoever, the more the merrier. Tracy and Nicole, if they want to do that, yeah, absolutely. Tracy for sure. Tracy is amazing. And Dee Dee. You guys remember those effing clowns? Who? Carol's awesome too. I never got a clown. Did they live? Nicole's hubby is a long haul trucker, and she goes with him on the road. Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
Back in Westchester, where Lauren's from, I'd start meeting them for coffee or lunch, or just they saw me as a very aggressive reporter, and they knew that I.
Clowns don't bother me as much as dolls do. Like you see her, like, remember the old really, really hard plastic face dolls? They were really freaking especially with the little blinky thing eyes. My sister had some of those. Got my 357 locked and loaded at all times. Good for you. Might need that.
Was into the nuances of the story, so they eventually, when I reapproached them years later, they agreed to open up the private investigative files to me, and that kind of was a new starting point for the reporting. And I feel very close to them, yes, but also that makes me have even a greater sense of responsibility to keep pushing forward on this.
And since the book, Sean, has come out, has it led to new, credible, promising tips?
Credible, promising tips. Police were saying that they were hoping that this renewed
It's Indiana. No.
detention could bring tips and and new information, but they haven't really revealed what kind of calls they got. And obviously, we have no break at this point. Still, I certainly got a ton of calls from people who were associated with Lauren or the boys over the course of the year. Nothing, no smoking gun information, but I certainly understood a lot more about the relationships and who these individuals were. And here we are.
What do you believe it will take to solve this case, to bring Lauren's family answers?
Well, as Mike Caravello has stated, and there are three possibilities for this. And a lead theory is that, she was in such a bad shape. She had to be carried up the street by Corey into the townhouse complex, and she had fallen on her face, couldn't even raise her hands to stop herself, and couldn't, when she met or saw friends, a couple friends along the route, she could even focus in or recognize them. So she ends up in the townhouse complex. If indeed she died in the townhouse complex, it would take one of those individuals to have shared that information with
Yeah, that right there would creep me the F out, man. That's ex-daughter-in-law moved into a old house, as in the attic was old porcelain dolls, and their faces were all broken. It was Probably it happened in La Crosse.
trusted friend or maybe a lawyer, and basically it takes one phone call to authorities to point out that they were holding something back, and then that's a very active investigation. You could see how the cards could fall that way. The other theory is that she made it out of the townhouse complex, and then what Jay Rosenbaum, the last boy to see her.
Which case? My grandmother had a bunch of creepy dolls. Dolls are creepy, man. They just are. Which case is that? The case that Heather was talking about. Which case is that, Heather? Let me know. Creepy clown case. I don't know what to tell you. Smiley face. Sure.
Said was that she walked up to the corner where she would have rounded toward her off-campus student building, and
I do want to at some point here. Probably not going to be this week, but at some point I do want to get really another. I want to go do another live on the Evansdale case too, because it's been a while since I did anything on that. So I'm pretty sure there's probably nothing new going on there, but that's one of the Evansdale cases, one of those cases that's really that's a case right there that really bothers me.
She would have been caught on a camera about a half block down, but there was no evidence that she ever made it out. But if she did, then it's a question of, did her boyfriend somehow come out at that hour and run into her, or did some other predator pick her up? The police released no evidence, and there is no indication that there was that she was seen after that point.
What would it mean to Lauren's family? Her mom talks about the not knowing. What would it mean for them to find out the answers?
It would mean everything. When I've spoken to him over the years and recently. It's like they're living, carrying on two lives. One is they can never let go of that night and obsessively going through that, and it's heartbreaking. I'm a parent now, and I couldn't imagine what that would be like to just suddenly have your daughter disappear and have some
Well, I put down in the chat, Owl on the Prowl. That's my Facebook page, but apparently it has to be with the capital O and a capital P. I saw happy face killers years ago. Courtney Cox, hubby David something. Smiley face killer, all drownings, and the happy face. Oh, the smiley face killer, yeah. Lauren disappeared on a street corner. Yes. The happy face killer was talking. Yes, the happy face killer was talking to Rex Ryan. Yes, I'm going to cover that next. The Molly Bish case. Thank you for covering Evansdale. Oh, you're welcome. I got to get back into that because, yes, for sure. Oh, that sucks. I'm here and I'll be listening. I've got to eat before I get sick from my meds, and I'm already getting a headache. A migraine? Are you getting a migraine? Keith Hunter Jesperson. Never heard of him. AKA Radar's here. I do remember the Hillside Strangler. AKA Radar's here. I believe I read they've unalived in Chicago. Hate when they're close to home. Sick maniacs almost seems they're. It's good to see AKA Radar here. Whoops.
Suspicions about what happened. So it's completely devastated them and made it very difficult to move on with their lives. So it would mean peace to be able to finally get the answers and face what happened, know what happened.
Are you in Top Chat? That's been happening to me a lot lately too. I know that people have been talking about that for like the last 3 weeks, and I've been saying, how do you get in the Top Chat? But I think YouTube did something where whenever you go into a chat now, they put you into Top Chat and not live chat. So it's always good to see AKA Radar here. Very, very good to see you. Let me know if you want a wrench. Yeah, if you go into a chat now, I think you automatically go in on Top Chat. You don't go into before. I think it used to be you went to live chat, but now it's Top Chat. So you just got to check that. That's all. But she's here. AKA Radar's here. I shouldn't say she. AKA Radar's here.
At the same time, they've tried to live their lives. They have another daughter and who's gotten married and had kids of her own, and they've tried to stay present. So you could see how all of this, their lives could really, to move on would be really an amazing feeling for them. Of course, it doesn't bring Lauren back, but the not knowing is a killer.
Yeah, it stops you from everything. For people who have followed this story, it got a lot of national coverage when it happened. The focus was on the timeline of events, Lauren that night. But as you've gotten to know the family and learned more about her, what do you want people to know about Lauren Spear, who she was, what made her special and unique, what she had planned for her future?
Right. So Lauren, at that point in her life, was, at a crossroads in a way. She was with Jesse Wolf, and they'd been going out for a couple of years at that point, and she was wrestling with whether they should stay together or she should branch out on her own. She was thinking about going to Europe to study, and they were having some real recurring arguments. So that night, she was also experiencing some real difficulties, but she also hoped basically that she was going to get through this. And I think that's what makes her somewhat relatable to a lot of people, is that in college, it's a time to grow and mature, and she never got that chance.
If people see this story, Sean, if they read the book, if they refresh the details of the case and have information that they are now willing to bring forward, who do they call?
Well, they call the police or the private investigator, and if anyone.
Okay, that's fine. I'm assuming Rads is AKA Radar. No, I don't know. This is just the latest. They did a piece on this on the News Nation does the usually like a weekly missing. So I wanted to play this here. You were in the area when she went missing and kind of drove around keeping an eye out. Yeah, it's definitely horrible. Tony Skiff10 is the guy's name that Heather was talking about. Okay. Let's see here. I don't want to do that. Okay. Radar DD makes everyone a mod too, so does Dave. Facts. Okay, absolutely. Yeah, AKA Radar is awesome. Absolutely. Let me hold on. Let me do that now. Give me 2 seconds. Because I will forget. Don't you hate when something won't load? It really bothers me. So hold on a second. Where is she? Right there. And there you go. Right there is that. Okay, let me know if that worked. Wait, let me get back to. We'll play a couple of more seconds of this here, and then I want to move on to the Molly Bish, and then another thing, and then we'll get out of here.
Were to reach out to me, I would pass them along as well.
Sean Cohen's book is College Girl Missing, the true story of how a young woman disappeared in plain sight. It came out in 2024. Please, we'd love to stay in touch with you and hope to bring this family closure, even all these years later.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your keeping attention on this.
And give our best to Lauren's family. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
We have an update as well that we never want to give in another one of our missing cases. This is a story we first told.
It's terrible too. The Denver hairstylist.
You about Jax Graton this spring. Police are now confirming that the Denver hairstylist was found dead in a Lakewood, Colorado alley last week. They are treating her death as suspicious. Graton was last seen on April 15th, leaving her apartment, and her.
Yes. So anybody that has a channel, that's why I give out so many wrenches, because I like to promote other good channels. So if you have a channel and you have a wrench, you can post your channel in here, and I'll do whatever I can to promote it, because there's a lot of good channel creators in here. Southern Gals in here. Paula in here. I know that JCN was in here. I know that Zaddy's in here. Dirty Diana's in here. Great channels. All with great content. So if you have a channel, you got a wrench, you can throw your channel in here. I don't have any problem with that at all. So there we go. All right, what am I doing? This.
Friends searched relentlessly for weeks. Jax's mom says that her daughter.
So they're calling this death suspicious here.
Transitioned as an adult, and she was unaware of the increased danger that the 34-year-old was in.
I had no idea the hate that she faced every single day. And I only
This is so awful. I'll have to get into this too here.
have gotten
There's just so many freaking cases going on. It's just,
a little bit for representing Jax and trying to find Jax. But the hate for every transgender parent, you need to give your child grace, whether they're adults, whether they're very young. Because I think I was not that sympathetic. And I just.
yeah, absolutely. No doubt. Zaddy's got great content too. What else here? I know this. That's why I do this, because there's a lot of great channels. I know a lot of chats you go into. They don't like you to promote other people's channels, but I do.
The pain that she must have felt every single day she left the house. And she was a person that left the house in full makeup and clothing. All the hairstylists where she worked, when they saw the last picture of Jax leaving, said that looks like she is running away.
Graton's mother says a detective reported that Jax was found in the same clothes that she was wearing when she left her apartment in a hurry and was last seen. The family held a
That's freaking terrible.
rosary service earlier this week in honor of Jax, and we are thinking about her family, and we are so sorry for their loss. We have had a lot of you comment on another.
You're awesome, Mustang. Dee Dee's awesome. Everybody in this channel is awesome. I never watched Snay, though. I've been watching Snay for a long time. Keep checking. All right, so let's. All right, so a couple more seconds of this.
Another missing case with our Missing with Marnie TikTok about the disappearance of Mason Robertson. Mason is from Anchorage, Alaska, missing since May of 20.
She does a great job. This reporter does a fantastic job on this channel here. Marty Hughes. That's why I try to play at least one of these a week, because she does a great job in the missing. We need these people to do more stuff like this here without their personal opinions and stuff. Just cover the cases and, let people get the message out on these people's plights, right? And but she does a good job.
2024, and he texted his family after leaving home that he didn't need them. They did not hear from Mason for months, and then around his birthday, his mom got a text from an unknown number she believes could be Mason.
So on Mason's 17th birthday, which was November 1st, I received a text about 7 o'clock.
Like I said, I remember it was a few years now ago. There was nothing being said about the floor 4 victims, and so they did a week-long push on getting the word out for the floor 4. I think it was right after they stole the money from them, the reward money. And Snay stepped right up, man. I got nothing but respect for the guy. He stepped right up. And there's a lot of creators that did it, but when people do stuff like that, I got a lot of respect for them. So I'm feeling okay. The longer the time, the better, but we'll be doing chemo on Wednesday again. Oh, that sucks. Daddy called you a dirty dog. I probably am. But we literally just, Heather Brown is just an amazing freaking human being, period. Joe's in Honeybee. I don't know what Honeybee is tonight, but
In the morning, and it basically said, "Long time no see. I hope you are all right." And our family uses that saying, "Long time no see," a lot. We joke. Mason comes up from the basement, "Hey man, long time no see."
Mason's parents say that the two texts came from unknown numbers. At first, they wondered if it was a scam. They still aren't positive it's Mason, but they suspect it likely is because of the reason the mom just said. They do want him to know he is missed, and they just want him to know that they want to hear from him that he's okay.
I love Mason, and I want him home. And
if you've been covering and watching the Delphi case from, I don't know, 2017, then you probably met every single person you're going to meet. Like I've seen AKA Raider around. It's just no drama from me here. I personally love opinion. If people have opinions, it's all good. So I don't have a problem with opinions. Used to watch Delphi True Crime, then went back. Snape, Prof, Silky. Silky's awesome too. Yeah, Silky's great. Dago's great. That's okay. To each his own. Just there's a lot of channels I won't watch either. AKA Radar Pro. Yep. All right, let me get back to this here.
he's funny, he's smart, and I just want to help him. I just want him, again, to go back to help him have whatever life he wants. I understand that maybe he doesn't want to live the same life as us. Okay, that's totally fine.
Silent Gal's got a great channel. Doodlebug's got a great channel. JC Ann was in here a little bit. Honeybee. Honeybee's amazing too. I've stuck up for As Above, So Below too, in other people's chats because people just like to call people out, but they don't like when they're called out. So I've stuck up for a lot of people too, and I don't mind doing it. Just the old saying, if you can't stand the heat, get the hell out of the kitchen, right? That's
Nobody tried to pressure that. And, I want to talk to him.
If you have any information that can help bring Mason home safely, you can contact the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call Anchorage Police. If you have a missing case that you think we should look into, send it to us. You can submit cases at newsnationnow.com/missing. Make sure you sign up for our weekly missing newsletter so you can get the latest details on cases we are currently investigating. Our thanks to the Spear family in the follow-up on Lauren's case.
Miranda is awesome. Miranda's been here for a long time. All right, so I want to move on to this Molly Bish thing here. So I'm gonna do this first, I guess, and hold on one second here. Let me find something that's the most recent, I guess, here. Let's see here. 11 years ago. 11 months ago. We'll play this one here first, and then because I've been following this case for a very, very long time. But one of my buddies that's a reporter around here just covered it. Hold on one second. Let me play this one here. It's kind of just a summary of the case here. Still no answers to this case, but let me play this here. All right, here we go. So, all right, so let me read a little of this here. The unaliving of Molly Ann Bish is an unsolved child murder that occurred in Warren, Massachusetts. After 16-year-old high school student Molly Ann Bish disappeared while working as a lifeguard on June 27, 2000. Remember that date, June 27, 2000. Her disappearance led to the most extensive and expensive search for a missing person ever undertaken in the state of Massachusetts. Around here, we call it Taxachusetts. In June 2003, Bish's remains were found in Hampden County, 5 miles from her family home. Police believe that Bish was abducted and unalived, and several suspects have been publicly identified. However, Bish's abduction and unaliving case remains unsolved. So there's been a lot of talk, not a lot of action. In the summer of 2000, 16-year-old Molly Ann Bish, she was born August 2nd, 1983, began working as a lifeguard in Commons Pond in Warren, Massachusetts. On June 26th, the day before her disappearance, her mother, Maggie, saw a mustached man in a white car parked in the lot of the beach where Bish's lifeguard post was located. Although the man seemed suspicious at the time, Maggie did not fear that her daughter was in danger. Okay, so we'll watch this here. This is kind of like an overview, and we'll go from there.
24 years after Molly Bish's murder, the NBC 10 investigators are getting an exclusive look inside the evidence kept in cold storage for decades.
Investigator Kathy Curran has been covering the case since Molly Bish disappeared and as the latest in the hunt for her killer. Kathy.
Glenn, the district attorney tells us new DNA testing will be done on some clothing. A suspect was named 3 years ago, but investigators are still looking for evidence to put him at the scene of the crime. For the first time, we take you inside the crime lab and some of the evidence in this case. And so what do we have?
Thank you so much for that, Carol. Really appreciate that. Carol's awesome. I was on Dee Dee's channel the other night, and what was her name? Bubblegum Flavor? Bubblegum something? She was cool. Yes, Harmon blamed his father. He swore up and down that that was his father. I remember that. Let me go here.
So this is our cold storage location.
Bags of evidence tucked away on.
There was another guy that covered Delphi that I thought was pretty good years ago. Was I think his name was Bad Habits Kingdom. I don't know if you guys know who that is. Bubble Yum. She was funny. I wish I could find her. She's in California. Mandy scared her. I don't know if Mandy scared her away. I think I left right before. Carol, me too. I couldn't help it. He was passionate. I do believe he believed what he was shouting out. Yeah, I think he didn't he have some sort of mental health issue or something like that? Didn't he die?
On shelves in cold storage for decades.
We store evidence for a multitude of cases, including Molly Bish.
Possibly containing the key to finding Molly Bish's.
I've been following Delphi since 2017, man. Yes, he's dead. Sean is dead, right? The father's dead too, right now. Facebook and YouTube don't mix. No. They're both dead. Okay.
Killer. The NBC 10 investigators with an exclusive look inside the evidence at the State Police Crime Lab in Sudbury. This bag holds the bathing suit Molly was wearing the day she disappeared from her lifeguard shift at Commons Pond in Warren on June 27th, 2000. There are evidence samples cut for DNA testing, her knapsack that was left sitting by her chair that day, and more.
So there's a lot of unalivings around this whole area in Massachusetts at this time, especially 2000s. So right, 2000 between like 1998 and 2007. So just wanted to bring that out. Let me.
Soil samples and a hair elastic.
The Bish family has been praying for justice for 24 years.
The crime scene was destroyed.
The crime scene was never secured because at first police thought Molly may have drowned. Molly's remains were found a few miles down the road from the pond in the woods of Palmer 3
Why would they think that's so weird? Why would they think she drowned when she's a freaking lifeguard? That doesn't make any sense. All right, so hold on one second here. Some people claim to have been around since day one on Delphi that were not. I don't think there was anybody around at the very second. Like, I remember when I heard about Delphi, I was on a national, and it was on the 14th, I think. I don't think might have been the 13th. I don't know. Hold on a second here. The room searched. 17. Everybody around that community looks like that. Sorry, I'm not paying attention to the chat. Molly was found. Hold on a second. So Molly was found in Hamden County, which is right outside. That's what I'm doing now, is putting up the map. Hold on a second here. Let me stop sharing this for a second. Okay, so here's Warren, Massachusetts here. This is the Mass Pike here. But if you look here, so here's the closest big town is Worcester here. I'll back out a little bit here. And Worcester's important here too, because this is about 30 miles or so from Worcester. And Worcester is where I believe that's where the what they call the Maine South Woodsman Unaliver was located here. This is where all the girls from what they call the Maine South Woodsman Unalivings were. And that was around the same time that this person here, Molly Bish, was unalived. So that's why I wanted to bring this up. But there's Worcester there. And hold on a second here. And if you look down here, there's Shrewsbury, Burlington, and there's Boston. So it's kind of strange that she's found in 2000 here. And at the same time, you had these unalivings going on in Worcester, the Worcester area here. And let me go back to this here. Hold on a second here. Let me go back to the interview here. That's why I'm re-looking into this case here.
years after she was murdered.
Molly's presence is missed every single day. I don't look at the world the same way. My sister was taken by somebody, and I've learned that there are many dangerous people out there.
The hunt for the killer led investigators to convicted rapist Frank Sumner, who died in 2016. He operated auto body shops in the area and looks like the man Molly's mom spotted sitting in a white car the day before she disappeared.
We're going to do everything we can to make sure that this case gets closed.
Worcester County District Attorney Joe Early says Sumner had access to a white car. He was officially named a suspect in 2021, but DNA tested from evidence so far hasn't linked him to the crime.
Do you believe he is still the person who killed Molly Bish?
There's a lot of evidence that leads to Frank Sumner, yes. That's why we at first named him a person of interest and later a suspect.
I'm frustrated that we haven't made any progress on the recent person of interest that was named in 2021.
Here's the Bish case by the numbers. There are 267 pieces of evidence. Investigators have received more than 6,700 leads and tips. Molly vanished 13 minutes after arriving at the pond. Surveillance video from a local convenience store captured the last images of Molly moments before she went to the pond on that fateful day. The Bish family and investigators are hoping advances in science and the evidence here will finally lead them to Molly's killer.
As we've seen the advances in the science, where you might not have been able to test it in the past, now you can test it.
My hope is to use my voice and stand up for Molly as much as possible and continue to look for resources available to support the investigation into solving her crime.
And the Bish family would like outside DNA experts to be involved in the case, but the DA says he's confident in his team and they're using the most advanced types of testing. If you have any information.
Greeno is living with Marv? You got to be kidding me. No. What would Greeno be doing? I thought Greeno was in Seattle. First of all, I don't have any respect for any guy that abuses a woman at all, period. And that includes the clown Graz, too. Any respect for him whatsoever. None. Zero. So I'll probably not watch those channels. All right, so I do want to go here. Hold on a second. I'll be getting out of here pretty soon, too. Hold on a second. I do want to share this, though. So this is the case that I've been following since forever. This is the Maine South Woodsman case, and these are the victims so far that have been attached. He's already been the guy that they have. I don't know. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these victims here, and I've kind of connected these 5 victims with 2 other ones in New Hampshire here, Mindy West and Rosalie Miller. But all of these victims here, if you look, they were basically taken from this street down in Worcester, Massachusetts called Maine South, and that's where all of the SWs hang out. But it's just strange how, this is 2004, 2003, 2007. So this is right in the wheelhouse of this guy here. So I'm wondering if Molly Bish here. So let's go, because it's about 20 miles away. I'm not saying that Molly Bish was an SW, but maybe, maybe they're tied in together. I don't know. Hold on a second. Let me play this. Do this here. We're going to go to. So that's why I've been looking into this case again here. So on June 27th, Maggie took her daughter to Commons Pond and left Bish by the lifeguard station. Maggie is the mom. Let me shut off this scanner here. Okay. Hold on a second. However, another person claimed to have seen a man who looked like the stranger in the parking lot just minutes before Bish arrived. A local worker also mentioned seeing a similar car parked at a cemetery. There's a cemetery that was linked to the pond by a path. Maggie was the last person known to have seen her daughter before she went missing. Body was discovered in 2002 after a hunter spotted a blue swimsuit in the woods on Whiskey Hill in Palmer. So I could probably, hold on a second. Okay, we'll go there in a second. Although a thorough search of the area was conducted on June 9, 2003, Bish's remains were discovered 5 miles away from her family home. Although the cause of death could not be established by the body's decomposition, investigators believe that Bish was emmed. So there you go. This is the investigation. So I do want to do one more thing. It's not fair to victim blame. I heard he's living local to the Delphi with an ex-inmate. Take your time out. Thank you, Radar. I don't. The two things like 232 makes no sense to me. The 230 timeline. There are several people who really should not talk to me because they already attacked me the other night. I'm being respectful. Thank you, Mustang. What am I doing? Okay, so I'm gonna go here. Hold on a second. Let me stop this here. Okay, so this is I believe this is Palmer, Massachusetts here. So she was they searched in here. So I'm gonna get back to this here a little bit more next week. For sure. Once I do a little bit more investigation, but the guy from Boston 25 did a thing on this here, so I figured I'd check it out. But he's been following this case here forever. All right, so I do want to do one more thing, and then I'll get out of here. Just give me a second here. I wanted to hold on, I can probably do it this way here. Okay, it's this one here. Okay, so a couple weeks we did a couple on this here. There's this running rumor that there's this SKer in Massachusetts. Well, not Massachusetts, but New England. And there's a little bit more to do on this here, so we'll play this here. Give me a second. Let me share this. Nicole Watts here. Hi, Nicole. I've heard of every one of these cases. I love it. Thank you. Sorry I'm not being all that great tonight, but just trying to go over as much as I possibly can here. So this has been going on in New England for the last 6 or 7 weeks here. Dr. Michelle Dupree, a former medical examiner, police detective, and author of several criminal investigation guides, joins News Nation to discuss this disturbing series of events in New England. Since the start of the year, 13 unexplained unalivings have been reported across Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island. And we did this a couple of weeks ago. We basically charted out every single one of these cases here, but now there's a couple more. But if there are authorities fear an SKer could be responsible, so there's no clear cause and no evidence the deaths are connected, but if they are, authorities fear an SKer could be responsible. So let's play this here. What's strange about this case, we did the timeline and the towns, and they're all along the same kind of route. So that's kind of strange. So let's play this here, and then I'll get out of here.
If you made a list of things police hate more than anything, mysteries would actually be very close to the top. Cops seem to hate mysteries, and victims' families hate mysteries too. You can imagine why. And so imagine how frustrated investigators are feeling in 3 New England states right now: Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. They are looking at 13 unexplained deaths since the beginning of the year, with no answers, no suspects, and for now, no reason to believe those deaths are connected. But if some of those deaths are linked, authorities.
So I had that trying to load, Paula, and it wouldn't load. But I was going to show Bob Ward's take on all of that, because he's been following this case forever. But it was taking too long to load, and then I got an error message from it. So I'll try to go over that next week if I can. I'm not having the greatest internet success tonight either, so that could be why. But as soon as I find out, I'll let everybody know.
Authorities may have a serial killer on their hands. I want to bring in Dr. Michelle Dupree, a former medical examiner and police detective, who's also the author of several criminal investigation field guides. Dr. Dupree, it's always nice to see you. You know, a lot of people have been asking me about this one for, you know, it got a lot of headlines because one of the bodies was found near Taylor Swift's house in Rhode Island. People are like, oh my gosh, New England serial killer.
That's freaking classic. Greeno did it. Are you taking off, Carol? Thank you so much, Carol, for coming in. Really appreciate it. You're awesome. Thank you so much. Hope you have a good week. Thank you very much for all your support. Appreciate it.
What do you think of it? I mean, is it possible they're connected?
Absolutely. You know, law enforcement does not like coincidences. And
I know the one case in Groton is not, because they've already arrested somebody for it. I have never been rude to you. I was upset because of what happened, and my feelings were really hurt. All right, let me go to this here.
13 bodies in a relatively small area. That's too much of a coincidence.
Yeah, I mean, I named the 3 states. I mean, it is a.
So I'm going to play this here, and then I'm going to say goodnight to everybody, and then I'm going to get out of here, Carol. Good night, Paula. Paula's leaving too? Where's Paula? If you're leaving, Paula, have a good night. Sorry I couldn't get respond to you. I was going to do a live, and then I got busy doing the hockey game and stuff like that, so I couldn't respond to you. But thank you for reminding me about my live tonight, Paula. Paula's amazing.
It's a pretty small area. What does your gut tell you? I mean, from what we know so far, and some of them are just bones apparently, so it's hard to know much. But is there anything you're seeing that like commonalities between any of these bodies?
There is obviously, as you mentioned.
This is not 13 victims in a 70-mile radius. That's to everybody else in the country, especially people who live in really big states like California and Florida, and that's a small number right there. But in New England, that's a big mile radius there. That's there's some parts of New England 70 miles, you could hit all 5 states, most of them anyways.
Mentioned the area. It is a relatively small area. That's a lot of bodies in a short period of time. It doesn't mean that they were all killed in that period of time. But
so we did this one, the one in Groton is out. They already arrested somebody for that. That's not it. So, but we did this a couple of weeks ago, and we went along this route here, but they're all along this 95 corridor pretty much, or off of this these routes here. So I mean, it's possible, but I guess anything's possible.
But they were found in that period of time, and many of them, or several of them, were relatively recent. The other thing is that most of them are females, and we do know that most serial killers are male, and most serial killers do target females.
So this is basically the 5 state, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, all these states here, Rhode Island. Rhode Island is such a small state, so It does seem kind of strange, though, that they're along this same path here. It is really weird here. Just my opinion. But this Groton one here is not. It's not connected because they've already arrested somebody.
And so I think that that right there is a very good reason to suspect that they may be connected. We also don't know the cause of death on many of these. And I believe that the police may be holding that back. Even if it is skeletonized, we can still tell a lot about the body and perhaps even how that person died.
So I was just looking at the map again, and you've got all these different states involved, different little police departments in that part of New England. Yeah, there's the map there. So you can see there's quite a few areas. How do they handle investigation like this when it's crosses over different states and police lines?
That does make it certainly more difficult because working across jurisdictions is it is common, but it requires a lot of coordination. It makes it a lot more complex. And yes, this would be a great case to call in the FBI, but of course that is up to the individual jurisdiction to do that, or to a task force if they have formed one.
What about the time of year right now? In terms of things thawing out, and I hate to be sort of gruesome, but it seems like we see more bodies sort of become discovered around this time of year.
Yes, and you're absolutely right about that. Warmer weather may tend to bring bodies up that were in, say, a body of water or something.
Yes, Truth Seeker. Sorry about that. It's I mean, it's kind of up by New York. It's New England, but it's little bit, to the east and west of that.
Additionally, this time of weather, a lot more people are outside. They're more likely to find things. People are out in the woods. They're hiking, they're camping, they're hunting. So finding a body is much more likely in this type of weather, this climate.
I guess we'll wait and see if I mean, I hope no more pop up here, but it seems like there has been this sort of trend. Whether they're actually connected, we don't know at this point, but we'll certainly keep an eye on it. Dr. Dupree, appreciate you coming on tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below.
All right, so I just wanted to cover that since that was back in the news again. That was done a few days ago, so I just wanted to cover that. This guy here, if you guys haven't seen this guy, Psycho Face, this guy is such a great guitar player. I do want to play this here because I played this before, but this is I'm going to play this again here because this woman here is a hero to me. This woman here is a if you don't know her, this is Jane Borowski. She's a survivor from a incredible attack that happened here in basically southern New Hampshire. And she may be linked to, part of the whole Connecticut River Valley unalivings, but she's a survivor. She was stabbed, I think, 27 times. She was pregnant at the time. So they asked her about this supposed SKer or suspected SKer, and I want to play this for you guys too. Let me hold on a second here. This is Jane Borowski. She's got a great podcast. It's called the Invisible Tears Podcast, and she's one hell of a survivor. Like I said, she was stabbed 27 times, I think, and there we go.
7 months pregnant when she was attacked by the Connecticut River Valley serial killer. She was stabbed 27 times and miraculously lived to tell about it.
So these are the ones I've done numerous videos on this Connecticut River Valley person. In fact, I'm going to hopefully upload a short here pretty soon because I went to the Newport. I think it was the second of the unalivings location here. I'll post that soon. Just haven't had the time.
It happened in Swansea, New Hampshire in 1988. And it happened after 7
And then these are the victims here. I think this is in order here.
women were found stabbed to death in the same area. all were victims of the same man. And Jane is
So it's really kind of hard to actually believe any of these sketches because I'll let her tell the story. If you want to check out a really good podcast, go check out Invisible Tears podcast. She's awesome, but she explains exactly how the because she's the only survivor of this clown here, but I don't think any of these images were actually what she said. So
believed to be his only survivor. She now hosts the podcast Invisible Tears, and she is here with me now live. First of all, my goodness, Jane, I'm so glad that you're here with me, and I cannot believe that you survived.
we love you, Miranda. Everybody's always welcome here. I try to stay out of the nit and gritty, but I remember that you lost your dad last year. I remember that. Miranda's been here since I've seen her story. That was nuts. Yeah, she was just she was coming home from the fair, I think, and this lady here, and she just got attacked in a parking lot. We love you, Miranda.
Survived 27 stab wounds. I want to ask you about that in a moment. But first, what are your thoughts about the story I presented with 7 sets of remains and officials saying nothing to see here?
I find it suspicious for first. I came across it online about a month ago. And then I started doing some research and I'm like, this is awful suspicious. It just didn't sound right that they weren't connected, and the law enforcement was just so adamant about, all these cases not being suspicious. It just didn't sound right to me.
You have such a stake in a story like this, and I want to ask you, what is the responsibility here between law enforcement not creating panic and yet law enforcement making sure?
I don't even know how to block people. So, I mean, if I see somebody in here attacking people, like women and stuff like that, then I'll probably step in and block somebody. But I honestly don't care about opinions. People have opinions. That's what makes the world go around, man. It's I have opinions too, but if people are just arguing about opinions, I don't have any problem with that. Opinions are a dime a dozen, right? Heather, I don't have anyone blocked. I'll probably block myself. Who knows? All right, we'll finish this up and then I'll get out of here. I've taken up too much of your time already.
That people like you and I are safe when we're out and about.
I think if they come forward and are honest that there may be some suspicious activity going on, I don't think that's going to spread panic. But
what she says here is very important, though, because a lot of the stuff before what she's going to say here is just nothing but bullshit. But what she's going to say coming up here is probably something that law enforcement should take seriously, my opinion.
It will do is make people more vigilant. Like, make sure they do the buddy system when they're going jogging or going for walks, or letting somebody know where they are at all times. I think it's about keeping yourself safe. And so as far as them saying, well, they're afraid to, spread fear, I think the opposite. I think they should be letting people know that, you need to be, more aware of your surroundings and be safe.
Yeah, and they should talk to you because, my God, your attack, 27 stab wounds at the hand of the Connecticut River Valley serial killer, and it is still unsolved, Jane. I didn't realize that. That person is still out there. Actually, let me ask you, do you think that person may be dead by now?
I don't know. Supposedly I'm the last one that he attacked. I'm the only survivor. And I don't know if he's still around, if maybe he's incarcerated or maybe he's dead, or
whoever attacked her, my opinion, because I've done some research and data on it, if he's alive, he's probably around 70, at least 70, probably 64 to 70, to be on the really young side.
I don't know. I don't know if he's still around or not. I really have no
We've been
idea.
putting up two of these images. To me, they look very different. Is there one of these two images that looks more like the man that you remember, or how is your memory after such a horrifying attack?
The one on the left is the actual composite that I did. The one on the right is something totally different. But the one on the left is definitely the composite that I did.
Yeah, because the one on the right looks completely different. The hairline.
According to her, I don't want to speak out for her, but according to her, she was kind of, I don't know, not in a good place to be. It's a strange thing about sketch artists and stuff. They always get these people at vulnerable moments. So I don't know if she's actually convinced that this is the actual, and people have attacked her, saying that I can't believe she didn't get, a good look. She's the only survivor. How can you not get a good look? I mean, she's being attacked 27 times. I'm pretty sure she's not, paying attention to too much. Yeah.
Line looks different. Everything looks different. Maybe it was the police trying to suggest maybe this is what he looks like if he's got a wig or glasses on. But can I ask you, how on earth did you survive 27 stab wounds?
I was pregnant. I was 7 months pregnant. And I truly believe I survived because of my daughter. My daughter wanted to live. So it gave me the strength to live and to survive. She ended up surviving also, which she blessed me with a granddaughter. So yeah, I feel blessed and I'm thankful.
Yes. Thank you, Miranda. Happy Father's Day to everybody. Man or woman that's a father, because sometimes, but not by choice or by choice, people have to take care of children and do both. So happy Father's Day to everybody for sure.
That I did survive.
I'm going to call you again because we're going to continue to watch this story as the details come out. Jane Borowski, thank you so much for being.
She's such a freaking amazing person. Jane Borowski is just, the hell she's had to go through for so many years. All right, so I'm going to get out of here. You guys have all been awesome. Yeah, that's and she counted them. The guy she was with counted them. So anyways, Truth Seeker, thank you so much for coming in. Really appreciate all your support. Let me know when you get a channel. That way I already got knocked out. I got to do Jingles. Jingles was in here. I got a sub to Jingles, and I got a sub to who else? Forgot now. Shibby, thanks a lot, man. You're awesome. Always good to have you here. Miranda, you're awesome. I know I'm going to miss some people. AKA Radar, thank you so much for coming in. Always appreciate having you here. Heather Brown, you're freaking amazing. You're an amazing person. Let us know what's going on this week, or I'll stalk you in other channels. Carol, you're awesome. Thank you so much for coming in. Everybody here is awesome. Everybody here is welcome all the time. Nicole Watt, thank you. Mustang 65, thank you so much for coming in. Mustang is great. Nicole Watt, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for all the new guys, new people in here. I really appreciate it. Dino was in here. I know that Dino's awesome. Charlie Manson was in here. Necessarily Evil was in here, and I think Ron Logan was in here too. I'm not sure. But Charles is awesome. Chuck is a great guy. Chuck is great. Dirty Diana is amazing. She's got a great channel. Awesome channel. Content is great. Awesome. Just awesome. So Southern Gal was in here. I know Southern Gal was in here. Southern Gal's got a great channel too. Who else? Your News Addy was in here. There he is right there. Your News Addy was here. Great channel. Remind me about that other case, because I forgot about it already. But check out Your News Addy. He's got a great channel. Pretty sure I'm subscribed over there. I'll double check though. Who else was in here? We love Dirty Diana too. There she is right there. She's amazing. Great channel. If you can find that bubblegum person, that'd be great. She was funny. I know that who else was in here? I know that Charlotte was in here. Charlotte's amazing. She's probably chasing her livestock out over there in England. She's a great person. It's always good to have Charlotte in here. That's why I go on so late, because she's all the way over there. So she's I'm gonna forget people. I'm gonna miss people. I'm sorry. Everybody who watches on the replay too, thank you so much. I know there's so many people that watch on the replay because I'm always on so freaking late. I still intend on doing a tropics update here soon for the new season. I just gotta find some time. But anyways, I'm gonna miss some people, and I apologize because I can't scroll all the way up, unfortunately, to the very beginning. I should write these things down. But thank you, everybody, for coming in. I really appreciate it. You guys are amazing. But I'm going to get the hell out of here. I'm going to play an outro. And everybody, have a great week. Happy Father's Day to all. Everybody stays safe and don't die, whatever you do. So let me play an outro. If I miss somebody, Karen Lee was in here. Got to remember Karen Lee. Let me play my outro and I'll get out of here. You guys have been great. Are you going live after this, Dirty Diana? Thank you so much, AK. It's always good to see you here, Radar. It's always good. Miranda, you're amazing. Thank you so much. Take care, guys. Have a great week.